He's just like, let me hold your tits while I say this. Quack.
Welcome to the Little Duck Book Club with Duck number 1,
Ren, and Duck number 2,
Anna. And today we're discussing, we already have read, unfortunately, the book called Powerless by Lauren Roberts. There's a bit of a story to this book, because it's not my fault that we're reading this. I have begged. As soon as it came out, I was like, do we want to read this for the book club? And you said no. Several times.
Yeah,
I think I've tried like 3 times.
I should have, yeah.
I don't even remember if somebody in the comments also already suggested it was like, hey, you should read Powerless or something. But I have definitely bugged you. And then when we were sitting down and like trying to get books, like settle on books for this second semester of the year, you come along and you go, oh, I could read Powerless. So honestly, it's your fault.
Yeah, honestly, I dug my own grave. This is, hell of my own making, as they say.
Yeah.
It's pretty... yeah, disclaimer, please don't go read this. Please don't go read this. It's not worth it. It is... Please do not. You will hurt yourself, and it will not be worth it.
Usually, we guys tell you, like, oh, leave the video, read the book, something. Or in the end of the video, we're like, it's not that worth it. This time we're telling you beforehand. This time...
Please don't. This is a PSA. We want to prevent self-harm, and this is a necessary announcement for that.
Flagellation. Yeah, but truly.
Listen, we have read some god-awful shit on here before.
We have.
I will, with my full chest, say... Read Blood and Ash instead of this. Read the fucking Bridge Kingdom instead of this. Anything but this. Please. It's... Do not... Read Lightlark. Anything. Not this. Not this, though.
Nearly made me spit out my drink.
Frankly, instead of this, just go and read Red Queen or Hunger Games. Yeah. They're both... I mean, I don't remember that much from Red Queen, but I thought it was, like, fine. And Hunger Games is great. This? No. No.
Well, what we usually do is we are like, oh, we're gonna start at the beginning, and then we always go off the rails whenever we do these reviews. Our dearest Duck number 1 had thought it to be beneficial for you guys if we go through like a summary in the beginning, because otherwise you will be so fucking lost as to what is happening in this book.
There's just so many scenes that are stupid that we would talk about out of context. Yeah. Just having a broad overview, because on the overview level, not that much happens in this book, frankly.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
But all the small things we need to talk about, because they're all shit in their own special ways. But yeah, so first, I think at the beginning we also tried to give a summary, but then we always, run off into the sticks before we reach like the second act. But this time I do want to give just like a relatively brief overview. Yeah. Okay, so
get it started.
We have our main character. Her name is Paedon, which I need to spell out to you. It is Paedyn. So Paedon. Very, very Mormon name already. Great for her. This spelling, incredible. So she lives in the slums. She's homeless. And in a world where some people have got magic, she doesn't have any. And this powerlessness is something that... What could you get? Why are you laughing?
Because of your fingers. The air quotes for powerless.
If someone finds out she's powerless, she gets killed, and anyone who knows her also gets sent into the desert. Cool. So she pretends to have psychic powers instead through her own incredible powers of cold reading people and just, that shit. She's Sherlock Holmesing her way through life. She's like, but I have seen a detail on your shoe, which opens your entire life history to me. It's very silly, but, that's one of the more excusable parts. Anyway, homeless, she's a thief. She steals a crazy amount of shit. Quite frankly, even in the short time we see her, unclear why she's still homeless if she makes that much money while stealing. But that's her job. She lives right next to the main street in the slums, which is called Loot Alley, by the way, just so you know. Because looting is happening. Incredible.
Well, the whole slums are called Loot, and Loot Alley is just the main alley
Which,
in Loot.
Incredible. Anyway, honestly. She lives in a corner side street with her best friend / kind of little sister, Adina, who is a seamstress, and also a black girl, which will be relevant later on. Our second main character is Kai. He's the second son of the prince. His magic... I can't read. He's the son of the king, obviously.
Perfect condition for Powerless.
He's the... That's what this book did to me. I have brain damage now. And his magic power is that he can basically do any kind of magic anyone around him has, as long as they're in a certain radius. Which radius? We just don't know. Never described. We'll experience the details? No, not here. Many times in this book.
It also
Specifics? Never.
Yeah. It also changes throughout the book, to be honest, the dimensions of... So.
That is also true. Anyway, one day, our lovely second main character and love interest is in the slums to kill someone without magic powers and send their entire family into the desert. Very charming, of course. In a scene that really just has an incredible amount of Holocaust imagery, which we will probably get back to also, but, the kid is hiding under the floorboards, he's menacingly interrogating the family, and then dragging that kid out of hiding and dragging her away. So, that's all cool. But he's too much of a coward to actually kill that kid, but that's not important. While he's dragging her away, the family tries to protect her, he gets a little bit beat up, and then they basically, after he sent all of them into the desert, he's still running around Loot Alley, which is where he meets Peyton. For the first time, she tries to steal some of his shit. They have god-awful banter and then go their separate ways. Shortly after, he gets attacked again. And she saves him because he is so bad at fighting, apparently, all the time. She saves him. They, once again, have terrible banter. He is horny about it. She's horny about it. Again, they go their separate ways afterwards. And then we learn about the trials, which are going on, which are, I think every 5 years or something, because these are the 6th, and it's been 30 years since the plague happened.
Yeah.
They're commemorative of the plague that happened a while ago and gave people magic powers. And in these trials, people compete to win. What's the competition like normally? We don't know. What do they win? Probably money. It's unclear, but they are happening. And Kai is a participant. There are many other royals with cool power who are participants. And apparently some participants get voted on. Through which mechanism? It's unclear.
Oh, the people of Ilia.
Peyton gets nominated, so she has to participate now. Cool. Gets dragged away to the palace, where now she gets to train with the other people who are also nominated. We meet the colorful cast of characters, most of which don't fucking matter. She has awful banter scenes with Kai, some more, and then we have the 3 trials, before which, all of which is a ball, so we have 3 balls, 3 trials. And we also, before the trials start, have an incredibly Hunger Games-esque interview scene where one person interviews all of the competing people.
Contestants, yeah.
Yeah, the contestants. I was all saying the participants. I was like, yeah, all the participating participants. That's crazy. But they're all interviewed really in front of a crowd in a giant arena made of concrete for some reason. Peyton is so witty and funny. And then we get, not a lot happens. We have 3 trials. One, they get dropped in a forest at random and have to fight each other for leather bands that are on their arms. The one with the most bands wins. Unclear what they're winning, but they're winning. What does it mean? We don't know. Again. Then, Peyton, in between the first and the second trial, also gets interested in the there's like a rebellion resistance thing also going on in the background. She looks for them and joins them. What exactly are they doing? You'll be surprised, but it's unclear. Then second trial, they're split up into teams, have to climb a mountain, and which is full of snakes. And then fight for a flag in a all versus all scenario. And then the third trial is in the arena, and it's a magical maze of shifting hedges. Crazy. Not reminiscent of anything that has ever been happening in a third trial in like a magical story. Well, certainly no copying going on here. And then the trial ends, the resistance breaks in, has like a big showdown with a bunch of the guards, holds the royal family at knife point for a bit, then they fail because they suck. In the chaos, Peyton runs away, some stuff happens, she meets the king alone, out in the rain. There's just no one's accompanying anyone here, they're fighting it out. She's like, "You killed my dad," because she believes he killed her father. She thinks she's seen it. They have a utterly awful fight scene. She ends up killing him, and she's like, "Wow, I killed the king." And then, of course, Kai shows up and is like, "Oh, you killed my dad!" And then they have a stunning breakup where he's like, "You better run away so I don't kill you." And that's how the book ends.
So you see, it's just your normal run-of-the-mill fantasy story that you can pick up anywhere.
That's basically what happens. Again, the trials are supposedly an important part of the story, but the first one only starts like 50% into the book. But in those 50%, barely anything of note has happened. You're mostly just confused about the trials.
It is certainly something. Maybe to give you guys some additional information on the book itself, because we did not, or at least I did not go into this book completely neutral, I would say. So maybe if you've been familiar with The Hunger Games or the book Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, by just the story beats that were just presented to you, you might already be thinking, this sounds like very similar to some of these things. And the way that I got actually noticed Powerless was on the one hand because of book talk, on the other hand because people accused Victoria Aveyard, so the author of Red Queen, which is very similar in terms of character structure and like scenes that are in Powerless. She was accused by them for plagiarizing Powerless, which was released, I think, 8 years after Red Queen. I think Red Queen started in 2015 or something. So already I went into this book being a little bit like, like my plagiarism eyes were very open, so maybe some of the comparisons might seem might sound a little bit unfair, but in all honesty, I don't feel bad about it.
No, the thing is, even like I wasn't super informed on this. You had told me that the comparisons were made, but I'm always I don't think plagiarism in books is like, often people are like, oh, this is just like this other thing, and then you look at it and some surface components are the same, but fundamentally these are totally different stories who are about totally different things. So I was like, okay, there's gonna be some stuff. But reading this, and I will say, I read Red Queen near when it came out. I was still in school when I read this, so my memories of it are hazy. But reading the first few chapters of this, I was like, Wait, what? The similarities are weird. It's not that the
Yeah.
story is super similar. If it were, it might make more sense, because at least Red Queen makes sense and
God.
is a solid story. But there are so many weird details that overlap, but also Powerless is doing a stupider version of them every time. So you just sit there going, okay, you copied that guy's homework, but in a silly way. That's not even good.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
doing?
I think when we were writing messages, we agreed on that it feels like a Hunger Games alternative universe fanfiction of Red Queen, where it's like, oh, like taking the characters and you know what people do in fanfiction, where they take certain story beats and like things that happen and try to still put them into the alternative universe, which sometimes is like very like exciting and fun, but in this case, it was none of these things. So if at some point this just slightly shines through this video, this is why. Because we're just constantly like, huh?
It's just... Yeah. I mean, it's... How do I put this? There are often combinations where it's like, okay, some of the setup and like character and vibes are more Red Queen, but the plot feels a lot more Hunger Games. Like,
Yeah.
we're in the first trial where they're in the woods and you're like, this is just the Hunger Games arena, but stupid. Like, this is just the same thing. We even have Peyton desperately looking for water at some point. She gets a bow and she makes some arrows. The similarities are so strange because often they don't really go that much beyond surface because the actual plot that's happening is different, but it is worse than what you get from the other things.
For me, it was the getting dropped in the woods and that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, weird, very much Hunger Games like. But the moment I said, stop, what the hell, was when you have like the same scene where PETA gets hurt and then Katniss has to sit there and like put like ointment on him that she got from a sponsor. You have the same thing with just in reverse with Kai finding this salve in the little tin thing, and that made me be like, stop. Like,
and it's also again stupider because he just randomly finds that shit on the ground in the moment he needs it. It's like, oh, I guess the other guy I fought with earlier just dropped it. Also, the salve, it's called a salve, and it is described as a dark liquid. He is dripping everywhere.
That's not a salve, it's a tincture.
Right? Right? That was also, again, the things are there, but they are... That's why I tell you not to read it. Everything is the unfathomably dumbest version it could possibly be. Another thing.
Yeah.
The technological state of the world is utterly unclear.
Yes.
And we have this Hunger Games-esque setup where things aren't dropped to them while they're running through the wild. They're just placed there beforehand. They pick up random items all the time. Cool.
Yeah, but also only in the first trial.
That's true. Also only in the first trial. And then, because apparently we don't have technology, what we have instead of the panopticon of the Hunger Games, where cameras were everywhere and observing everything, we instead have a bunch of magical people who are basically just cameras in themselves. It's like they see things and they record them in their brains and then they can project them outwards at a different time. This is crazy shit.
Yeah. Because I thought it was so stupid. Let me just try and find... So these people are called the Sites. So they have like stupid names for every single special
they're
powers.
also
we
really
have to
bad.
get to the special powers in itself anyways,
Eventually,
because they confuse me. But these are called the Sites, and they're people who like their eyes go like whitish when they start recording something. And then later on they can project what they've recorded.
Right.
And this in itself and the concept is so weird, because I was sitting there when Kai tells this to us. I was sitting there and I was like, how does this even work? Like, do their eyes become the projectors? Do they just, like an overhead projector? The way this is described to you is that he looks at one of the sites and he's like, oh, except he's, the site, he's not projecting what he is seeing and is instead storing the images away for a later time. It's like, this is the great of explanation you get for these powers. And when I read this, I thought it was so stupid. It's just like, what do you mean he's storing the images away for later? Does he have an SD card in his head? Does he just have a very good, like, photographic memory? Like, what does this even... Does each site have, like, a folder directory structure in their head? And then they go, oh, yes, I got, like, by date, by time. What is this?
The crazy part about this also is that, like, the sites are always standing, like, 5 meters away from the action. So you know the angles are ass, too. Just, if you're watching this, you're like, wow, I wish we were closer so I could see something. Like, also, question, can sites be short-sighted? Like, if their eyes are bad, is the recording also bad? I have so many questions.
Yeah, what's the resolution on these? Like, but yeah, because for the trials, because we were talking about the technology, I think it's impossible to pinpoint what kind of development of, like, technology we have. Because I think it's after the first trial, they like have... Do I also have the quote for that? Yes, our seats to get a view of the enormous screen. I was like, okay, a screen, a television, at the far end of the oval arena. Recordings flicker to life, snippets of each of us provided by the line of sites standing below it. So I'm like, is this like a fabric screen? Is it like an actual TV screen and the sites just Bluetooth the information?
No, but also this opens the question, did they rehearse this? Because it does cut different things together,
they have to edit. They have to edit it.
And I'm also like, are the sites also recording and projecting sound? Like, what is the situation here? Is this just silent films with, like, subtitles? Like, what?
I was like, for each site, there's also a sound, and they walk hand in hand. And the sound is just really good ears.
Another crazy part about this is those sites are around all the time to stare at people while they do things. First off, how the fuck do they find people in that forest? It's not like they have tech, like in the Hunger Games, that makes sure they know where everyone is at all times. Mm-hmm. But also, both Peyton and Kai are described as super cool, super competent fighters. And there are many moments where they're like, oh, I didn't even notice the site standing there. When did he get here? Oopsie. Like, am I supposed to think they're stupid? Like, what is happening?
It is so fucking dumb. Isn't there even a site during the end fight that then Peyton runs after? Where it's like, Peyton, your perception skill is so bad.
Peyton is just bad at everything.
But yeah, the technology, I agree. The technology aspect is hard because they do not have guns or anything. They ride horses. They have, like, coaches and carriages that they use to get around.
There is one incredible moment at the beginning where Peyton mentions that they do have electricity, and do you know what the only application of electricity is what we have? It's street lamps. What does this remind you of? From Blood and Ash, where also the only tech they had with electricity was lamps. Bang!
To be fair, the street lamps could also be gas.
No, she says they're electric. Like, she does mention electricity, and that the vaults are making it. And that there were a few put into the slums. And first off, electric lamps, never mentioned afterwards again, okay? But also, we only have street... And I was just sitting there like, does Lauren know that gas lamps existed before electricity lamps? And that they've they were pretty consistent for a long time. Like, if you want street lamps,
yeah.
you don't have to invent electricity for that. You can have a gas lamp. It's okay.
The fact that I forgot that it's on. I mean, in my book it's page 10, but it's literally
It's really early on, yeah.
It's the second page. She says, there's not much electricity here in the slums, but the king generously spared us a few lampposts. Thanks to the vaults and scholars using their abilities to create a sustained power grid, I have to work exceptionally hard to stay in the shadows. Side note, vaults is a name for, like, I guess, electricity making mutant people, but scholars is also capitalized. Did some people just get smart after they had to play?
I assume so, because it also mentions that the scholars are the people who made the mute, which, like, deactivates people's powers.
Yeah.
And it's
the
always
transparent
capitalized.
metal, what she calls it.
So I'm like, okay, so they're also magic in some way? So it's just they have huge brains? Like, what is...
Little mega minds.
Because it's also... The magic powers, at the beginning of the book, it mentions that the country experienced a plague.
Yes.
And as a result, some people developed powers. But also it describes that the powers suited the people's, like, personality or, like, constitution, which really only makes sense for the people who get, like, super strength, which are called brawnies.
Which my sister misread as brownies, which is really funny. She's like, are they delicious? What's the thing?
So they're called brawnies, but, like, what kind of personality gives you the power to make fire? What personality...
Like a hot temper, I guess.
Right? It gives you the ability to create force fields. Because that's a special,
a very
deflective
deflective person.
The way these powers are organized and separated, it doesn't feel like it's just like, oh yeah, you know, the way people always create classification system. It feels like, no, that's how Lauren decided the world works, and these are correct ways to describe these things. Which is crazy, because we separate psychics and mind readers from each other, which... In this case, psychics are also people who read emotions and minds, so it's like, are they not the same guy? What? I don't understand.
It's in itself is weird. I wrote down the very same thing, that in the beginning you get told that these powers are super unique, and then they have these categories for powers. They have the elites, the mundanes, and what's in between? Something. They have 3 categories of powers, and then they have the ordinary, so obviously don't have any power. Where I'm like, okay, they also have the fatals.
The fatals, which are like the powers that the king didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. The king didn't like. On his block list. So that makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, you know what? They just sort them on how, like, tremendous and big and powerful these powers are. But then what you said, they go into these other categories. It's like brawnies, blazers, sights. So they're not as unique. And they're not just, oh, you know, this is all the kind of stronger people. They have very distinct things that they do. They have these silencers that just do this one specific thing. The silencers don't work different each, you know, they don't have like different focuses. They all do the same thing. So how shitty must it feel to be told that the powers are unique to each like person, and then you're like, yeah, I'm a basic bitch. I'm a brawny, like 50% of the population.
Right? And it's, I mean, not that I want more, you know, fantastical slurs. However, calling the underclass of people you are exterminating ordinaries is crazy. First off, that's way too long. That's way too clinical. That's not how you would refer to a class of people who you think are vectors for disease and a drain on society, literally, as in draining the powers out of people.
Yeah.
That's crazy, especially when you sit the ordinaries next to the mundanes, which means the same thing.
Right? I was like, that's the same thing. Okay, please continue. Sorry.
But, like, right, not that I want, but there is... This basically affects the whole story because nothing has weight. Nothing has real meaning or weight in terms of the world building, but the fact that a group of people is seen as a underclass that deserves to be exterminated by everyone, and people just talk to them as, oh, the ordinaries, or they don't talk about them at all, that's weird.
That is weird, yeah.
It's just like, oh, okay, because it's also Kai's job to kill these people, and Peyton is one of those people. But she's never like, wow, yeah, right? It's not... She's never like, wow, yeah, that's, like, awful that he does this and believes this. It's most of the time it's just like, he would kill me if he found out.
Yeah,
So like it just doesn't really matter, really. It's just there is a funny world building thing to make the stupid romance more interesting, but it doesn't affect anyone really.
The problem is the way this is set up is it's set up in a similar way like Hunger Games, right? But you could never have the world of Hunger Games and be so blasé about the actual atrocities that are being committed in this world, which means you couldn't focus that much on the romance, make it like hot and spicy. I mean, there's no spice in this book, but like, you know, sexy, the way she tried to do it in Powerless. You cannot have this relationship develop this fast and this juicily by pointing out the fact that, you know, what he would do technically and should do once he finds out she's ordinary.
The crazy part here is, though, like, that it's worse. Like, the situation is objectively way worse than it is in Hunger Games. In Hunger Games, it's just, like, the thing that always happens. That a lot of people are an exploited underclass who has barely any rights and, you know, works all their life to sustain luxury for very few. Here, it is, quite frankly, it's not literally an ethnic cleansing, but we're doing magic eugenics where a group of people gets literally exterminated. I don't, like, listen, it's not the same, however, it has the same energy as writing a romance in which your main character is a Jewish person who's hiding their heritage, and your love interest is a fucking SS officer. This is the energy you're bringing to the table, and then none of the characters react in a way that is in any way following this vibe. Peyton does not behave as if she's part of a group of people who gets exterminated. She's just like, it would be bad if people found out, I guess. Oopsie. Like, she's... This and is so unserious. And it's... It's the using this insanely strong association that people... Like, when it first started, they sent all the people without powers out into the desert. And I'm just like, oh wow, cool. Not only are we invoking the Holocaust, we're also invoking the Armenian genocide. That's great. Yeah. Those are fun things I like to think about in my silly romantasy. And then we never address them. And like, I get it. You don't want to address them. They're too serious to have a fun story. But then why are they in there? Just don't do that. Even in like Red Queen, that has like a really strong dynamic between people who have powers and those who do not. The ones who don't have powers are just the poor people who work all the time to make the luxury of the powerful people possible. They're not exterminated. That is crazy.
And like there's this power balance in there where it's not even like if it was the other way around, right? The quote-unquote ordinaries would be the majority, and they'd be hunting down the people with the powers. The people with the powers would still have a lot of resources available to them to, like, fight back. But in this case, it's literally, like, stepping on... Like, for the king, it's like, oh, I'm stepping on a cockroach, right? He's like, oh, whatever. You know, and just kind of... Whoosh, and we're supposed... Yeah. I have this one paragraph from... I started a world-building section in my notes, which I very quickly surrendered. And it just... Everything is in the my thoughts section. But it's this one paragraph where Kay kind of, like, describes what the king did. And it's supposed to read as, like... The last sentence of this paragraph is supposed to read as if the king was being nice about it. It was, after the purging, when the ordinaries were banished to the Scorches, which is the desert that you just talked about, to protect Ilia, which is the country, or the city, I don't know.
I also don't know. That's also in my notes.
From disease, the king decreed that any remaining ordinaries found in the kingdom would be executed, which is Kay's job. 3 days ago, he offered them a chance to survive, so Kay let some people go, blah blah, and reached the cities of Dor and Tando on the other side where there would be no harm. So he himself believes, because at first thought it was a typo, but he himself believes that these ordinaries are going to be no harm to him, the elite, if they've made it to the city. So he has that belief, right? And the last sentence is, but the king's mercy only lasted the day of the purging, and I now deliver death on his behalf. So by all means, Kai is brainwashed and, like, conditioned, but he's far too blasé and nice about the whole thing.
Yeah, listen, I'm not here to say, oh, this is so offensive, we should cancel this book. I'm just...
Yeah, no.
I don't care. I just think it's like, first off, it's a crazy choice. Like, I'm just sitting here going, huh? Why would you do that? But second up, it's also just, it leaves such a bad taste in your mouth. And I understand different people have different associations, and I understand that. If you live in the US, it's not as present, but I have been to a cassette. I have been, right? Like,
to the prisons and stuff. Yeah.
The visuals and the association is so immediate to me that the idea of writing a story in which your love interest is the guy who goes around exterminating the oppressed group, and your main character is not immediately put off, but is just like, well, he's kind of hot, is crazy to me, because there's an emotional component where I'm like, wouldn't she just be deeply disgusted with him and everything he stands for? Wouldn't there be, like, the separation of, oh my god, this person hates everything I am, and, like, right? But this is never addressed at all, so there's just this insane disconnect in my brain where I'm like, wow, that I can't take this serious. But the crazy part is him exterminating innocent people barely comes up in the story. It barely comes up. Most of the time, it's just he's getting a funny little title, The Enforcer. So it's only ever mentioned, oh, he is the enforcer, and I am an ordinary. We're never touching the part of, like, oh yeah, he would, like, he kills kids.
Yeah. There's one part that I wrote down, and this is, again, like a straight quote from the book, where I don't remember why she went to his bedroom. I think it was because he taught her how to dance in that scene. And she sees that, like, the bedposts have notches in the wood from where he supposedly, like, whacked his sword against. And she goes, I suppose that is better than taking a sword to a human. Though I'm sure he does that as well. Girl, it's his job. It's his job to take a sword to a human. It's not, right. I suppose he does as well. What?
Peyton, we know he does. You know he does. Don't be stupid.
We all know he does.
The crazy part is that again, it's not a genocide. The eugenics aspect barely comes up. It's just like a kind of flavor in the world building that just kind of is there as a specter haunting you while you read, and they have the worst banter imaginable. But then what is focused on, and which happens several times, is that we follow Kai into the funniest dungeon imaginable because the king doesn't clean up. He leaves corpses to rot in their cells, where sometimes are just the bones left over. So, what is this? And there, Kai's hanging out, torturing people, and he keeps using that exact word. He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm making them talk." He has no euphemisms for this in his brain. He's just like, "Well, sometimes I need to take the edge of and I go do some torturing." Like, that's the vibe of how he talks about it. He keeps mentioning it as torturing people, and I'm like, use a different word just once. And that's also not taken seriously. He's just like, yeah, I do this, and then I go to dinner, still bloody. Cool.
I wrote this quote down, I swear. I can't find it in my notes. But one time they have these dinner scenes, right, where they just always eat. To which one, he doesn't, like, wash his blood off. But when one, he's like, I'm so tired from this whole day of training and torturing. It
cannot be overstated how unserious everything in this is while trying to be melodramatic. And you just read it and you go, what is this? What the fuck is this?
And then I was so annoyed. This I have to find, because I have to find the exact wording. Yeah, it's after, so it's still during the first trial, and I think it's after the first trial, and Caden.
Who's Caden?
It's like my head was like K Payton, and Kai. The dude gets hurt, Kai, and then she uses, like, she makes her own, because she's the most special little girl, so she also knows how to, like, pick flowers and plants.
Her father was a healer, so she can make, healing stuff just fucking like that.
Adam haunting the narrative. She makes, like, a salve, and then she applies it to his wound, and, it hurts a little bit. And then he thinks, or he says, and who knew the girl from the slums was capable of torture? And I was like, you saying this is the most disrespectful thing ever. Like, I swear. Using the same word.
But the crazy part is, it's not like he himself hasn't gotten actually tortured before too. His dad used to torture him to train him. So, and then he's like, wow, it kind of stings when she's putting, like, this leaf paste onto my wound. That's torture. And you're just like, be so serious, Kai. Be so serious with me. Shut up.
It is. I truly cannot comprehend.
It's awful.
It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. Like, there's so many things wrong with just this first trial. I have so many quotes down here that make you go, huh? But it's just...
It's also just very funny because people keep putting so much emphasis on the fact that Peyton is from the slums. People are like, the girl from the slums. Or
the
even
slummer.
Better, the slummer, which... What the fuck?
That sounds like it's a new kind of instrument, like a drummer. She's a slummer. Or like one of the weird mutant powers, Got the brownies, the Flash, the slummer.
The slummers. It is so funny because it's like, yeah, of course you think poor people are disgusting and beneath you, but why are you focusing so much on the fact that she lives in the slums specifically? It's so funny. It's like, it truly is just making me wonder, is like, how much does Lauren know about the real world and how people talk? Does she know people talk to each other? Does she know what that sounds like? Does she only watch Riverdale?
I have, so a lot of the quotes I wrote down, I wrote down why is weird wording. And the very first thing I wrote down as weird, like, what the fuck is this? She walks through loot, and she's like, I pass a group of fellow homeless.
God, it's so funny.
The word fellow implies a certain like kinship and connection and like a relationship. But it's not. I was expecting the next sentence to be like, this is, unruly Judy. She whacks people over the head to steal from them. And this is Bob the Basket Case. He whacks people too. I like expected some sort of whack, like in her own writing.
Right,
the
that
wacky
she
way
sees them as people and knows them, but she's just like, yeah, these disgusting fucking homeless people.
These just fucking fellow homeless people. And then she continues walking on. And the fact is that, and I'm sorry I have to say it like this, but when you later find out why Peyton is homeless, she's not homeless because she has to be. There was a house that she could have stayed living in. Her father died, but like now currently the house is not being in, like there's nobody living in it. Nobody's living in this fucking house. It's just been like empty. So she could have just moved in. She's like those teenagers who run away from home and who are voluntarily homeless because it suits her vibes.
It is crazy because at the beginning of the story it's like, oh, I can never go back home. And I was like, oh, she probably has more family at home and she doesn't want to go back because then she condemns them to death if someone finds her, right? Mm-hmm. But then it turns out, no, she just had a dad and her dad got killed. And then she ran away. Now, I will say, what's also crazy about this is that, A, her dad, turns out he was in the resistance. Cool, whatever. Weird part 1. The king personally came over to kill this guy. What? Does he not have hobbies? Like, what is he doing? Is he not busy?
He was training and torturing.
Personally, with his little teenage son to make his teenage son murder someone. Okay, sure. Peyton is like, okay, the king came to kill my dad. I can't go there anymore. But what she doesn't do is change her name? Like, what? If you think the king personally knows your family and is out to get you, why are you still using the same name? That is crazy. Mm-hmm. That's insane. And then, of course, for most of the book, because Peyton is under the impression that it was the king who killed her dad. Mm-hmm. And we never hear the end of it. We are not allowed to forget it because she very strongly remembers the king's green eyes when he stabbed her father to death. And this is brought up every single time she looks at his other son, Kit, because he looks like his dad. And she's always like, his green eyes. The eyes of my father's murderer. The king's eyes. I am so angry looking into those eyes because the king killed my dad. And it's like, yeah, Peyton, we remember. You said this many times. We know.
It's the one thing. I mean, this is one of the examples, but it's the one thing that also like grinds the gears of, I think, hopefully everyone reading this book, is that she always uses the same wording for everything. We never get to see the eyes of Kay without being reminded that he has gray eyes, stormy eyes like a storm cloud, the stormy gray eyes. Same thing from his perspective with Peyton. The amount of times my head was starting to sing Billie Eilish's Ocean Eyes, because he says she has ocean eyes, the blorbs.
But also at the same time, the colors are not consistent. Her eyes are described as the dark blue where the ocean meets the night sky, as a forget-me-not color, which if you've seen the flower is not a dark blue, as like a teal.
It's on the cover. The forget-me-not is on the cover. It's not blue.
I mean, on the covers, it's like a little more purple than it is. In real life, I would say it's still a blue, but it's like a warm blue, and it's bright. It's not dark. Then her eyes are like, and sometimes they're greenish blue, which is an entirely different color. Sometimes his gray eyes, don't get me started. Sometimes they're steel gray. Sometimes they're the gray of storm clouds. Sometimes they're a bright gray. I am killing myself. I hate this. Listen, if you're going to be specific about the color, you have to stay on the same color. You cannot come at me with this. And the same way, eye colors are also crazy. Because we have Adina, which is Peyton's little
sister,
homeless friend, little sister character, who is several times described as, she is a black girl, but she has hazel eyes. Where I'm like, can't she just have dark brown eyes? Why does she have to have hazel eyes? That makes no sense. The same way we have a character, Sadie, who is also presumably, black, and who has brown hair, like light brown hair. But the crazy part is that she's described at the same time as like a white character, and it's like, oh, where Blair is pale, Sadie's as dark skinned as Blair is pale, which would imply to me a very dark skin tone, not just, like a medium dark one. So I was just totally bamboozled by the looks of different people, because it's like, what does this mean?
To be fair, I wasn't focusing that much on like specific eye colors and what would in our world be natural for darker skin.
That's
or,
true,
like,
because
natural,
they all have
like,
crazy
more statistically probable to have with darker skin is because they have crazy hair colors, crazy unnatural hair colors all over the place. So it's like, okay, this is just, that's why visually I was like, oh, this is a diverse cast, Again, the most important people are all white and, like very bland.
They don't even have crazy hair. That's the funny thing. I mean, like, Peyton's is silver, but that's also not that crazy. Premature shock made her hair white, whatever. But Kai just has black hair, and Kit just has blonde hair. So these are normal ass hair colors.
Yeah.
I actually, at some point, I hadn't really thought about it, but somewhere in the middle of the book, I just realized that Peyton just looks like an Instagram influencer, with the platinum hair and the tan skin and the very blue eyes. I was like, wow, did she also get like a BBL? Like, what is her situation?
In the beginning, I thought she was, because I guess because of the silver hair, I also expected her to be very pale.
Very pale, yeah, me too.
Because that's kind of like the phenotype that comes up in my head because of like all the other silver-haired characters, and I immediately think of the Targaryens, basically. And most of the Targaryens we've seen are white, except for the couple of ones in House of the Dragon. So when it says, like, 2/3 into the book that she's tan, I was like, I'm learning this now? I'm learning, this is my main character. I should...
Right.
What? Because if this was information omitted, I would have never known. But fine. But telling me this, 300 pages into the book, that's weird. That's so weird.
It is so strange, and it's also, again, the visuals in this story for some characters are crazy. Some of the color combinations are crazy. One of the characters, Andy, has like wine red hair, like a very unnatural red, and she gets put into a mint green dress, and we're supposed to believe that looks good, and that's offensive.
I have to stop you there for a second, because I was reading that, and I thought, I was like, oh, well, that's an odd color combination, whatever, and then I continued. The way... When you wrote me, you were so obsessed over this fact. You're like, I still cannot. The amount of times I've heard you complain about this certain color combo is so fucking funny.
I hate it. It's because I hate mint.
You're so zeroed in on that. There's so many other things in this book, and you're like, yeah, but the mint green dress with the wine red hair.
That was awful. I was just like... What? Where did you even get this? Because I was like, okay, so many of these descriptors scream Pinterest to me. So I was like, where did you get this? What made you think about it?
I thought of Poison Ivy when I heard that, honestly.
Yeah, but she mostly doesn't wear like mint green.
No, but it's still... I was like, red hair? Green.
Anyway, it's not the point. It's not the point. But
it's not the point
we have a character, Blair, who has lilac hair, which, okay, I guess.
we have a character
our
called
favorite
Tila.
character. Yeah, Tila,
Tila,
who has teal-colored hair. Incredible.
The quote was, ironic that her bright teal hair matches her name. I was like, Lauren?
Lauren, you can't lampshade this. Stop it.
She does that so many times, where she writes something and then makes the POV character makes light or like fun of it, so that you as a reader are like, haha, but it doesn't end up being a haha. It just makes you go, huh? You know, like
there's
like the
another, like, the thing that this book struggles, description is awful in this. There are descriptions which are just straight up incorrect, where words are used where it's like, I don't think you know what this word means. Like, near the beginning, when Kai meets Peyton the first time, she runs into him, does the whole like, oh, I'm stumbling into you so I can pick your pocket, and he grabs her by the waist. He says, and I wrote this down, she's leaner than most of the scrawny girls from the slums. Though it's evident malnourishment stripped her of most of the muscle she evidently once had. And I was like, am I insane? I googled the meaning of the word lean, so I could be sure it means what I think it means, because it just means thin. And scrawny also means thin. So she's just the thinnest of the thin girls down in Loot Alley. But also, it's just like, how would you know she has lost muscle mass through her malnourishment? What does this mean? That's insane.
It's so weird. Yeah.
I was too distracted already by the leaner than most scrawny girls, and we have more descriptions like that. We're just like, what? What? No, this doesn't go together.
At first, I thought this was this is one of a very good example of that. I feel like she uses the wrong POV character sometimes to get information across, because he shouldn't be able to know that maybe at some point, because of the training with her father, she was more muscular. He shouldn't be able to know. And then, the wording is super weird. A lot of times you hear, like, in our world, in social media, you hear leaning up, getting leaner, and it's connected to being thinner but still having muscle show. But by him saying there is no muscle, because she quote-unquote, evidently doesn't have it anymore, how can he know? She's not skinny fat either, because there is no fat to be had. If she had fat or energy for fat, she'd have muscle.
Right, and it's like it's just like, that's not what this word means. And at other points, again, we get descriptions where you just sit there and go, you're more confused by the description as if the description hadn't been there. But there are also just, she has this tendency of firstly over-describe things, but then also, especially in the scenes that are supposed to be romantic, a character will do something, and then the POV character will use several adjectives to describe it, and always it's two contradictory ones where it's like, oh, this and this, and this and this, and this and this. Sometimes it's just 4, but most of the time it's 6, and almost every time they're also alliterative, so they all start with the same letter too, and you just read it and you go, what? At this point, it's just mishmash. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
I wrote one of them down.
Decide on one of them. Don't put all of them in there. This book could be so much shorter if we just cut, like, so much.
I wrote, for the audience, I wrote one of those things. It was also the one I sent to you, I think, as a picture. It's Peyton describing Kay, I think. Pretty but sharp. Cool but deadly. Captivating but cutting. Just thinking
These
of
things
what,
are not
just thinking of what duck number 1 just said, right? And then think of what you just heard. Pretty but sharp. There is no reason for the but to be there. This is not contradictory. Cool but deadly. Same thing. Captivating but cutting. This one I could kind of excuse. It's like, oh, the person is captivating, but watching them also cuts you, I guess, because they're also sharp and deadly and not just pretty cool. But
it's so...
It makes the whole description so wishy-washy.
Oh, it's just, no.
You're trying to find one of the quotes.
Yeah, I also have one from when they meet where he describes her laugh, where it's like, "Oh, it's warm but pained," and then there's more stuff to come, but I can't find it right now, and it's just so bad. Every time you're like, one of these opposite descriptors would be enough, but the more you add onto it, the stupider it gets. But this also is like compounded by the fact that no character can react to anything without explaining it in detail to us again why they're reacting like this. It's like, Kai will say something that's kind of rude, and Peyton will be like, I was offended because the thing he said, it implied this and this about me, which was not true, which is why I was upset, because it was a rude thing to say. And you're like, yes, I know, I can
Which
read.
offended me.
I'm not fucking stupid. Oh, and that happens all the time. Yeah. Oh, everything.
There's so much in this book you could, in theory, just skip. While we're at wordings and stuff, she, a lot of times, uses, and I think that's what also makes the book feel so clunky, she uses words where I'm like, I kind of get what you mean, what you're trying to say, but they're just tonally wrong. Like, there's a fight scene going on, Peyton punches someone, and the air whooshes out of his chest. Whoosh is a comical word for me. Whoosh is like a little sound effect you put into a Marvel or DC comic when somebody gets punched. The air gets punched out of his chest. The air, something else, not whoosh. We have the training and torturing. We have one of my favorite scenes where they have the dinner for the first time, and it's the candidates and the king and the queen, and the king booms down the table. Introducing the trials, and then right afterwards the queen just calmly says something, but he booms down the table. We have also one of the biggest culprits in my opinion, because this is during the epic climax fight that happens against the king, might I add. And she is describing that the reason why she can, like, fight against him to this extent is because the previous attacks have made him weaker, made him wobbly. The word wobbly has no place to be in this sentence, anywhere near this scene. Made him stumble, made him fall, made him wobbly. I'm wibble wobbling. The brawny king wibble wobbles down the hallway. Like, what the fuck?
There's also the descriptor before, like, the first dinner where her maid makes Peyton presentable, where she describes it as smearing black on my lashes. And
that's not what she's doing.
That's not what right? And you just, that's not, I don't think that's how that goes, man. I don't think that's how it works. It's like, I don't think Lauren doesn't know how makeup works, so I'm like, why would you write the smearing?
Like, the thing is, we know that Lauren is a native speaker, right?
Right.
So, if this was somebody who is not a native English speaker, I'd be like, okay, there's some vocabulary issues. A lot of times, as you also said, you were like, I really have to see if lean means what I think it means. I know, but I have to look at it again.
Yeah.
Right? That happens, but for an English native speaker to be this, like, these are synonyms, but different tones, different association, connotation. Like,
there's also, I just found it while I was looking for a different quote, a description.
See? You just found it while looking
which
through
is
the
utterly
book.
awful, because it also has my least favorite thing in this book in it.
Oh, the vicious little thing.
A thin layer of sweat has slicked my body, likely giving me the appearance of a glazed sticky bun. I'm killing myself.
She's always slick with sweat, and she's always
fucking sticky buns. I'm gonna fucking... Sticky buns are brought up by both Kai and by Peyton so much in the first few chapters, and then later on they have a conversation about their favorite foods. And neither of their favorite foods is sticky buns. And feels like a betrayal. Yeah. It's awful.
One was lemon tart, and I was like, lemon tart? We've been talking about honey glazed sticky buns for the past, I don't know how many pages. We were just waiting
for the buns to become sticky in a different context, but this is a legitimately YA book and not like an adult that's just written like a YA book. So this does in fact have no sex scenes, which I'm grateful for, because you can only imagine they would be so drawn out because everything is described 1,000 times badly, and you would have no idea what the positions are because all the action is incomprehensible.
He was arousing me because he was touching me in a way that was arousing. Which was arousing me.
I got wet. It's like, yeah. Like the ocean. Like her ocean eyes, you know? It's like, it's okay.
These ocean eyes. Every single time I read that.
There are so many descriptions that make the characters sound fucking stupid. Like the one of Peyton's dress for the first ball. She's wearing a silver dress. And she's described by Kai as like, her hair is like a curtain covering her dress, making it difficult to tell where the silver strands end and the shiny dress begins. Kai, are you fucking stupid? What else am I supposed to take from this except that Kai is fucking insane? What do you mean?
The amount of unhinged things Kai says in his POV. So if there's two POVs, there's Peyton's and there's Kai, and then the last chapter is Kid. And Kai's is the most unhinged and weird and stupid because it's the most inconsistent and it's all over the place. But the insane things he does, like he says, they all make him so unsympathetic. The training thing. Yeah. You think he's dumb because the dress thing. What else? At some point he says he doesn't care about his soldiers in his command, where it's like, I know this is just one sentence, just an offhand said thing, but this makes him so, like, not a nice person, in my opinion. These are your soldiers, you're supposed to care about them, but he's like, I don't care about any of them. And then, what else? His running around shirtless all the time.
That, we are introduced to him. Again. Yeah. May I remind you, his job is to kill innocent people, which includes kids, and he does this regularly. He is introduced as, I'm training with Kid, and it's so hot we've taken off our shirts, and we're so sweaty it runs down our toned bodies. And then
like sticky buns.
We're going into the kitchen to get some sticky buns, and guess what? I'm still shirtless because I forgot to put one on, and I didn't even notice. Ha ha! And this used to happen so much. My dad was always super mad when I forgot to put on a shirt and showed off my ripped body. And it's just like, guy, shut the fuck up.
And I don't know whether she has a brother, because I feel like this is unhinged brother behavior for them to walk around without a shirt on. And then it's like, guy, put it back on, and then brother's like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. But maybe she's been traumatized by that. I do not know whether it's the case. But the fact that he walks into the throne room one time to talk to his father because he has been summoned, and the father is like, oh good, you put on a shirt. And then Kay is like, yeah, because I used to walk naked into the throne room. Like,
yeah, it's just
that's not your living room. That's not your kitchen.
Like, are you fucking serious? Are you making fun of me? Are you, like, is this a joke book? Am I just not in on the joke? Is that none of this is serious? It is all too stupid. What? Am I just not aware that this is satire? Did I miss this? Like,
to me, Kay is one of the most unconsiderate people in this whole book. Like, Peyton comes off as dumb and naive and overpowered. But Kay to me is the most inconsistent, uncaring person. Yes. As much as we would like to be convinced by the book that he's hot and caring, and he tells all these pretty little things to Peyton, He's just not a nice guy overall.
It's not only is he not a nice guy, he's also just he has no emotional object permanence, is how I would describe it. He yo-yos so fast between states of emotion. It's crazy. And the part where I'm like, it can be super compelling to start out with a guy who has been brainwashed to just be a weapon, to not care about anyone's feelings and be like, yeah, murder's normal, torture's normal. Yeah, that's just part of, my normal workday.
Yeah, part
And
of the trade.
to then work on that and have him realize, oh, no, people have like emotions and they feel pain and like it matters when other people also like experience bad things too. And I'm not the only center of the universe whose emotions matter. But no, the book is just like all he gets is Peyton is the one exception to everything. I would lay down my life for her. And this happened almost immediately. The first trial starts and he's already thinking this. He's already like, I would burn down the world for her. I would save her and damn everyone else. And you're just like,
so
you're 50% into the first book of a trilogy. What are you doing? This was supposed to be enemies to lovers.
It's not even it's. Yeah, on paper it should be enemies, but at no point do they actually behave like enemies. Like, already the first time they meet is not enemies to lovers.
The thing is, it's not... He doesn't have substance either. It's so upsetting to read him because, like, there is a super easy explanation for why he's immediately smitten with Peyton, right? Because she saved him, and no one has ever saved him from anything. And he's like, wow, no one's ever done this for me before. Wow.
Like, that's so nice. Yeah.
But that's not really in his considerations when he's obsessed with her. It's just like, oh, I guess she's just so hot, and she fights good, and we have this fun banter, and I can't not think about her all the time. And it's just like, what? Why? Why?
It's very weird. There's one moment where he's like, why am I thinking like this? I'm being so weird. And I was like, yeah. It's the first normal thing you've said, my buddy.
But then he's also, like, again, Peyton and Kai have this awful romantic banter all the time. There is no scene with both of them that doesn't contain some truly mind-numbing conversation that is supposed to be quirky and fun.
It's horrible,
and they're both into it. But at the end of it, every time he's like, oh, she could never want me. We're enemies. She's made that clear. She could never be interested in me. And I'm like, you're both horned up every time you talk. What are you talking about? You're bantering. You're having fun conversations. Shut up. You know that's not true. You are not aware of the fact that she's the kind of minority you're killing all the time. So she, in her head, is like, oh, I shouldn't like him. But his dimples are so cute. You know? So he doesn't know that. So why he's like, oh, but she really hates me. She only sees me as competition. She could never want me. And I'm like, why would you think that? She's clearly into it every time you touch her inappropriately, which you also do all the time.
It's like, call HR. But yeah, no, it's like it feels like this perspective of that we have as the viewer and like as the omnipotent agency in this book, it bleeds into his perception, which is that he's like, oh, I shouldn't. And only towards like the end he's like, well, you know, because I'm the enforcer and I'm like a dark man, I'm a dark soul, I kill people. But only then we're like, oh, this is the reason why you think you can't hit it, okay? But what you said, he doesn't know, so how?
And both of them also constantly go like, oh, we're so wrong for each other, but we fit perfectly. And it's just like, you're not wrong for each other. you're both crazy, violent bitches. Like, I don't know why you would be wrong for each other, especially why he would think that, because he enjoys that. He frames it as if she's the first person who doesn't care about his rank and talks back to him. And then immediately we meet Jax and Andy, who are his adopted brother, Jack, and his cousin, Andy, who both treat him just the same. So it's like...
We also meet Blair, who, for all her flirting and, like, trying to throw herself at the brothers, talks shit to them. The first
all the time,
thing
right?
They meet and she makes fun of them.
Blair, it's just... Nothing that these two people say about their feelings and their relationship actually is true if you look at the text.
Yeah.
So you just sit there reading this book, then you have to pause a scene for banter that goes on way too long.
Yes.
And then afterwards, both of them talk about their relationship in a way that is entirely removed from what actually happened. And I mean, it's not like you're going to take a lot of time to think about it because you still have so much of this shit-ass book to read and you don't want to read it again. Just to check if you're stupid or if these people are just saying things that make no sense.
Yeah.
And it's a baffling experience. And they say it so many times too.
It's I wrote down for Peyton, I wrote down what a waste of paper, just looking at the notes I had on her. It's just... I
mean, my first point for her is I hate her, so, you're in good company. We're both...
One thing that bothered me about Peyton is, or like about this whole... And that's why, one other thing is why this whole book just doesn't work in the way it tries to work, is Peyton being ordinary and powerless, right? It means that she does not have the advantage that the other people have. We know that she knows how to fist fight, how to wield a sword, a dagger. She knows archery. She knows how to climb because her father taught her. She knows how to steal. She knows how to be charming and, like, smart and scheme. She's pretty and gorgeous. Oh, I wrote down, and she has ocean blue eyes. Did you know that?
No. Thanks for telling me.
All of these things still, at some point, should not be, like, giving her such an advantage over the people with powers, to the extent where during the trials, people with powers that should have worked wonders for the trial, talking about trial number 1, the situation with Jax and the flag, for example, she should have had no business winning that. Surviving, yes, but no business winning. And it just makes this thing of, we're supposed to feel bad for her because she's an ordinary, she doesn't have powers, but she's such a super skilled ordinary, but we don't really see her apply that skill because she doesn't need to apply that skill because she wins anyways. The one thing I was so fucking peeved about was her, for example, making the arrows in the forest, where it's like, this is like some art attack shit. I can take arrowheads and a bad branch and harass a bird for feathers and make an arrow. The fact that she hits a rabbit in the eye, like that kind of stuff, it makes it so unbelievable that we're supposed to think that she is not at an advantage in this story, which is the whole thing.
The crazy part about that is also, she has all those skills. She's a great physical fighter and all of that.
Yeah.
And then every single time, still, she needs Kai to save her, and every time they fight, he easily overpowers her. There are several scenes where, they're having banter and she tries to push him away or something, and he physically overpowers her to make her stay, and all
whip
of that.
Her around.
He is always more powerful than her, even though she's such a badass. But then in regards to the trials, it's also, again, we have no concept, which is crazy. Again, for a book that's about the trials, we don't know what even the point of winning is for her.
Yeah.
Because she does not want to be there. She was nominated against her will. Why the fuck does she care about winning? Why, in the first trial, when Sadie's like, hey, give me your fucking, let me get your bracelet,
leather band,
or I'll have to hurt you. And she's like, no, I would rather die than hand this over. And I'm like, why? Why do you care? You don't need to win this. And frankly, if the king's son, the future enforcer, is competing, why do you believe these games are not rigged as fuck and he is gonna win by default? You know he can literally not lose. His dad is the king. He is making those games. He wants them as advertisement for this nebulous position his son will one day have. He's not gonna have his son not win the tournament. So what is the point of trying except keeping yourself alive? And at that point it's like, well, if you're not really fighting the other people, who cares? She's constantly like, oh, but then the audience, then I'll lose their votes. First off, we have no idea what the votes actually do.
Right.
Again, in the Hunger Games, we know exactly what it means for the audience to like you. Here it's just like, we don't fucking know. It could mean anything or nothing, which it does. It means nothing. So why does Peyton care? She doesn't need to win. She doesn't want to win. It's not like the Hunger Games where your choices are win or die. Here it's just like win or don't win. Like, who cares? The first trial has like an awful poem introducing the trial. I mean, we could read it to you, but you don't want to hear it. Frankly, it is worse than Lightlark's prophecy. This shit is so awful. I don't know why she did this. I don't know why this was a poem at all. It didn't need to be. But it introduces the stakes as like, hey, you have this band, you need to collect more. But beware, there will be consequences if you show up without one. Is there any punishment for people who like failed it? No. There's nothing. There's nothing. It doesn't matter.
Do we even know if someone showed up with no band?
I mean, I forgot his name. The guy who makes illusions, he doesn't have a band, right?
Ace.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know if he, like, assaults someone else to get a band. He loses his band.
But I'm pretty sure all the other bands are, like, with other people. So I think he doesn't have... Like, some people there have none, and it doesn't matter. It just legitimately, it doesn't matter.
It's so many times something gets introduced, like... I remember because you said, you know, like we don't know what the voting by the audience does. When they have the interviews, it's said that the interviews are like paramount to how the people will choose who they want to support during the trials, which again goes nowhere. There's one other thing I just thought about that doesn't go anywhere. What was it? Maybe it will come back later. The inconsistencies. There's a poem for the first trial. There's a poem for the second trial. There's no poem for the third trial.
No, the third, they're like, they just point at the maze and are like, go in there. Like,
it includes one of my other favorite quotes of the king, where he explains like what happens with like the maze, and then he's like, though nothing is as simple as it seems. Wiggle waggle, you know? It's like,
and at the end it's like, no, it is as simple as it seems. You just go through the maze.
Yeah, but he says it and then the walls of the maze move, you know? But, like, it's so weird. There's no repercussions for anything, it feels like. But what you also said, because you said correctly, she doesn't plan on winning. She just wants to survive. It's the whole thing that people make fun of her for saying during the interview, I want to survive. I don't want to win. I just want to survive. Why does she not run away and hide? Okay, staying with Kay is also like a good way of surviving, right? Because he has the hots for her. But it's just so weird. The whole trials are so weird.
The trials make no sense because it's like an infinitely stupider version of the Hunger Games. And it's just like, it makes no sense. It's like Hunger Games crossed with the Triwizard Tournament, but it's all bad. So it's, you know.
One thing I was wondering was if we, like, the way to immediately make these trials a lot more scary would be if we don't immediately kill any ordinaries we find, but, like, hurt them up, keep them in a prison, and then let all the participants be ordinaries during these purging trials, and then be like, ooh, whomever wins gets to live. Gets to get out. I don't know. Like, that would be even more Hunger Games than the current setup, but it would be less dumb.
I think, like, if these games are happening and if you want Peyton to have serious stakes in them, she needs to be participating on purpose. She needs to want to be there, and the reward needs to be something she really wants. Or, frankly, just organize the trials in the way that, like, where the first trial is like, hey, you need, the one with the most bans wins, and the one who doesn't have one gets killed. So it's like, okay, I can definitely not give mine up, so I will have to fight people who want mine. And these and since the other people all want to win, they're willing to hurt her to get her banned. They don't care if she dies. Just do that. Just have meaningful consequences if you lose. But no. No. It's also... The first trial takes forever. They're in the woods for, like, over a week. Right at the beginning, Peyton and Kai find each other. First he fights a guy with super strength who doesn't fucking matter. He's just there. He doesn't matter. Except for the fight's really funny in that Kai almost loses even though he's supposed to be the super trained, super competent guy.
Yes. Oh my God.
It is so funny. It keeps happening. In the very first fight where he's, trying to kill that kid and send that family into the desert, he also gets beat up. Then he gets beat up by people in the street. Then he gets beat up by Braxton. It's embarrassing. It's like, maybe he just says he's really good. Maybe he just sucks. Like, have we considered he's just not good at it?
Is he a true Nepo baby? We don't know.
Right? And Peyton fights Ace, who can make illusions. Ace also comes from the slums. He's there to better his station. And for some reason that makes no sense, he and Peyton have, like, immediate antagonism. Like, he hates her for no reason. It's totally unclear why. And he creates illusions to fight her. And one of them that really gets to her for some reason is, like, creating illusions of, like, her as a starving child, and that, like, they stand around her and she's, like, losing her mind over it. And if listen, I'm sure a super realistic illusion could be scary, but if you already know there's a guy who can do that, who has proven he can do that, how scary would that be? Like, if you know, oh, this is fake, definitely. Just also ignoring the part where, like, of course he wouldn't know what you looked like as a starving child, and unless you had a mirror, you also wouldn't know, so how convincing can these even be? Like, what?
Yeah.
How does it... I thought you're a hardened criminal, you're ready for these trials, you want to survive, and then you're like, oh no, an image of me as a child starving and begging for help, I'm clutching my head and breaking down, this is so scary. And it's like, Peyton, what the fuck are you doing?
Peyton? It's, and the candidates themselves are just, very bland. The surface.
I feel like Blair is such an interesting character to me because I've read Red Queen, and there is a very similar character to her in there. So in Red Queen, we have a similar setup in the sense that we have two princes. One is the golden child, the eldest. He has fire magic. And then we have the second-born, who the dad doesn't really care about him. He has, like, mind powers, but he's not as cool and a good fighter. And we have our main character who gets in there because she comes from a part of this, population who shouldn't have magic powers, but they get publicly revealed accidentally. And so they're pretending she's from of the old noble families. So they're like, oh no, normal people definitely can't have powers. We're like pretending she's like a long lost, whatever. And there's this other character whose name I also don't remember, who is the Blair stand-in. She is also, I think, the daughter of an important general who the royal family needs to curry favor with because there's a war going on that they need him for. And her power is metal bending stuff. which is why it's so reminiscent when in the first scene Blair uses her telekinesis to threaten someone with, like, a knife.
Yeah.
And
it's like, okay.
But this character also strongly dislikes our main character because she came out of nowhere and she's going to probably get engaged to, like, the second prince. But the mean girl is engaged to the good guy prince, to, like, the one who feels kind of like a love interest for a main character in Red Queen too. But for her, it makes sense that she's catty and that she dislikes this woman. And also that the prince doesn't like her, but she's still there, and they have to get married because there are political reasons, and this woman is, in fact, really well-trained, extremely dangerous, and very self-assured in the fact that, yeah, this prince will have to marry me because they need the army that reasons. I can... Right?
Yeah.
So she makes total sense as a character who exists in her world, but Blair doesn't. Blair's like the embarrassing shadow version of her. She
Blair's
has powers, but she can't really fight, even though she's the daughter of a general who would totally teach his kid to fight, right?
Yeah.
And also, she's obsessed with the princes, but the princes don't like her, and they don't have any reason to keep her around.
Yeah.
So, why is she there? Like, why would she be hanging around them when the princes don't want her there? They have influence, they're the princes, they don't have to put up with her. So it's just weird. She doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
She's nothing.
It is very weird. At some point, Peyton is like, oh yeah, she hides behind her power. Blair hides behind her power like most elites do. And I'm like, there's no hiding behind power. If you have these powers, which we've discussed in the ACOTAR retrospect videos, like,
right.
You are allowed to be a mage build, yeah? You are allowed to have this power and to, like, and this is not a 500-year-old Fae king, right?
Yeah.
This is a 19-year-old girl. She's a teenager who has these telekinesis powers, which are incredibly, like, widespread. You can do all kinds of stuff with that. So, if I could do telekinesis, I would also, quote-unquote, hide behind my power. So there's nothing, it feels like it's supposed to be like a diss, or like oh, look at her, she's so dumb, she hides behind her powers. She can, and she does, literally throw you across the maze. Bodily. She takes you and whumps you on the floor.
I mean,
I wouldn't call it hiding.
Honestly, it's also just because it's supposed to make both Kai and Peyton look better because they're both really good at hand-to-hand combat, even though they get beat up all the time, but they're supposed to be really good at that. It's like, oh, Kai doesn't rely on his magic. He can fight without it, too.
The thing is, for Kai, it makes sense to have to be good at hand-to-hand combat because there's no power he can borrow from an ordinary that he is fighting, right? He would always have to have guards with him that he can borrow power from. So if he's in a situation where he's just with an ordinary trying to fight them, he has to be able to do hand-to-hand combat. Like, to me, that made absolute sense on why they would train him that way. But I don't know.
But yeah, no, it's the powers are also so disappointing because no one uses them in any interesting way in any fight.
Yeah.
There's so many fights where I'm sitting there like, oh, but couldn't this guy just do this? Like, you could do this with your power. You could do this and this to get around the obvious things. Why is no one... Why it is unfathomable to me why in so many fights where a lot of people are present, Kai isn't switching between different powers and borrowing them in different ways to surprise whoever he's fighting at every turn because he can do it. Like, that is his advantage. Yeah. And he's supposedly trained with a lot of powers, but then he's stupid enough to get tricked by the most obvious illusion and throw a knife at his adopted brother and then be upset about it like a fucking idiot. Like,
yeah. I truly the fact that I think one of the most underutilized powers is the one from Jax, he's not fast. He literally, like, portals to places. And yeah, he's the like little brother stand-in, just 15 years old, gangly kid, but he should be absolutely killing it, quote, killing it. In these trials, there's a second trial, and in the second trial, I got Silver Flames back flashbacks, but having to get on top of a mountain to finish a challenge is not Silver Flame specific. It's the last book where that happened, which I had in my mind.
It's
where
also
team up.
stupid.
Yeah, where they have to team up. They have to get to the top of the mountain. None of these contestants is using their powers in a meaningful way during the whole thing. Like, I think it's Andy that breaks her ankle. Is it Andy that then Kay carries up the mountain? Or is
No,
it
she
Sadie?
gets bitten by a snake. Sadie dies in the first trial. Kai kills
Right.
her.
So Andy says at the very beginning of the trial, she's like, "Oh, if this was like a one against everyone, I could just become a bird and fly up." Why does she let Kay carry her up the mountain in her human form? But she could
says,
be like,
I couldn't hold this form for long because I can't concentrate right now. But then in the maze, it's form. Like, wait, she can just turn into whatever, but the problem is that she might get stuck, not that she'll turn back when she loses control. So
she could have been like turning into a golden hamster for him to carry, or a snake, to have some humor, and then just turn back. Anyways, like, none of their powers get utilized in a meaningful way to get up the mountain. And then once we're on the mountain, there's like, "Ha ha ha, everybody! You're now playing against each other. There is a flag in the middle of the stage, and you have to get the flag." And it's not even who has the flag last after 10 minutes run out, right?
Yeah.
It's literally who gets the flag first. Jax should have looked at that flag and immediately
been there.
Zoomed there and grabbed it. Like,
but for some reason, a brawl breaks out.
Yeah, for some reason, Peyton looks to the right or the left and is like, who does she attack? Ace or Blair?
Ace.
I think Ace.
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm gonna whoop your ass." They should have all just run to the flag. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. And that makes me not believe in this whole Peyton is a poor little girl, but she's so talented thing. Because in all honesty, she shouldn't have... And she wins the second challenge even. She wins it. She's the first person
the thing
to
is,
the flag.
like, the second challenge is also so weird because it's like, oh, now you are in two teams and you have to get up there. First off, uneven number of players left. Whose team has the bigger number? Kai's. Who is in Kai's team? All the people with really useful powers.
Yeah.
If I were the king and I wanted to show the world how good my super special little boy is, I would not put him on the super advantage team. And, right? Because then it's like, yeah, of course he wins. He has all the nobles with good training with him, while the other two are like two people from the slums whose powers mean nothing for climbing a mountain, and the little boy who's 15 and nice. Like...
It's so dumb. At the very beginning, at some point, Kay and Peyton have like or Kai, I always pronounce this.
I love that you say Kay. I don't know why you say Kay.
Kai.
Because his Kai is short for Malachi.
Yes. So
which
Kai,
also,
Kai
when I read this, I was like, you cannot be serious.
I think it's because Kai is a normal German name, so I'm like Englishifying it in my. Anyways, Kai and Peyton are like talking to each other, and Kai says this dumb thing where he's like, "Oh, I don't like the servants waiting on me. I'm just a normal man, and I'm just being here in the normal participant quarters because, there's not supposed to be any advantage for me." And Peyton rightfully points out, she's like, "As if." As if there's no advantage for you in these games. And it's plainly obvious. For example, in the group configuration, right?
But it's also it's just fundamentally like these trials. Kai would not participate if his dad didn't want to show him off. So why the fuck are the trials not obviously set up in a way that
cater to him?
Unless he gives up, Kai could easily win. And I don't understand why he's not more focused on winning, because he could totally be like, I need to win, and Peyton just wants to survive. I'll keep her safe, but I'll win at the same time because I can have everything I want because I'm the world's most special boy. And that's right. Like, I don't understand this setup. And again, Peyton shouldn't be winning anything because she shouldn't even be focused on winning. Because, frankly, another thing that absolutely grinds my gears is that at the beginning, she steals from this guy who just picked up a large order and overpaid for it because he's in a hurry. And she's like, oh, I bet he has money. And when she steals from him, she also finds a piece of paper. And then she checks on it. And she's like, this has a meeting time and an address. But the address is my old house. What the fuck is going on here? She goes to check on this. Yeah. Like 60% through the book after the first trial because she sees the same guy at the first ball again when it gets attacked by the resistance. And she's like, oh, so this is related to the resistance. I'm gonna go find the resistance now. And it's just like, her dad was in the resistance. He got killed by the king for it. Why the fuck is Peyton not in the resistance from the beginning and saves Kai specifically to get an in with the palace and to get into the games on purpose to open the way for the resistance and to steal information and steal shit and all of that, right?
Yeah.
How does it improve the story that she has no idea about everything, doesn't really want to be there, then for some reason begins to want to win? And also, she's not interested in protecting other people except herself and Adina for the longest time. But then she has one meeting with the resistance. She's like, I want to make a better world for all the people like me. And I was like, what? No, Peyton, you don't. Shut up. This has never been a thing you believe. I don't... Just because this guy was probably gay with your dad doesn't mean you have to now believe in a better world, okay?
The Callum dude? Do you mean that one? Yeah,
because the way Callum was like, yeah, your father kept me a secret. And I was like, oh yeah, I bet he did.
That's why you don't have a mother, Peyton.
That's really funny.
This is some serious empreg over here. That's your daddy.
You know, adoption also exists. That's that was like a healer can do surprising things. You wouldn't expect.
You can grow organs you've never heard of. Okay, but
Peyton's never heard of a uterus. It's like a total mystery to her. I bet
it's a mandarus. It's so dumb. The whole. Because we've now touched on the ball, and we've previously touched on the balls. The balls are fucking ass, okay? So we have these 3 trials.
Strong words coming from you, by the way.
And then we have a ball before each trial. And we have our first ball where something actually happens. And it's exciting, oh my god, something happens. They get attacked by the resistance. And you're like, oh, these resistance people, like, it's like a mystery. What were they doing there at the ball? And it's like, they made this, like, very efficient terrorist attack. It was a bit of a martyr thing, a lot of them died or got arrested and then died in a dungeon. But anyways, you're like, oh my god, that's so interesting. And then the other balls happen. And nothing happens at the balls. We just show off a dress for Peyton. She has some god-awful flirting with Kai and Kit. And then later on, when she joins the resistance, you find out that the whole thing at the ball wasn't even on purpose. They're like, oh yeah, like, we had people infiltrating the palace, like, on some other place, and then we were discovered, and so we blew everything up, and it's like...
But
what?
You know why it happens at the ball? Because
So
in Red Queen,
amazing.
there's a terrorist attack at a ball that happens.
No!
No, yes? Yes. I was like, wait, this is familiar.
What? Shut up.
No, yes,
This is...
yes. And in Red Queen, the ball also makes more sense because it's supposed to, announce the royal engagements. But here, it's just like, why do they have balls before the trials? It's like, oh, so you can get more support from the audience. I'm like, okay, wait, is the audience only like the nobles who also attend these balls? Is the audience everyone in this city/country, which is not defined as like, is this just a city-state? We don't know. We never find out. Nothing's explained ever. It's just like, there's balls, man.
There is a map in the book. Are we gonna have another situation where you don't know that there was a map?
Oh no, I looked at the map and it sucks.
I know, but in the map, the whole map is called Ilia. So I would assume that the country is named Ilia. That being said, in this country we have the cities Tando and Dor.
But they're supposed to be saved. They're supposed to be saved for the people who make it through the Scorched Desert. So I don't think they're part of this kingdom because the kingdom is surrounded by those 4 things. The Shallows Sea, the mountain, the Whisper Forest, and the fucking...
Plummet Mountain? What do you do there?
The names,
I don't know.
Don't
stay on path.
The names of these are awful. It's like, you know what these names would be appropriate for? A Mario Kart course. But not, like, the Whispers Forest. The worst, I think, is the Shallows Sea. It has an S. It is not the Shallows. It is the Shallows Sea. Which, like, why is your sea so shallow? That's what? And Plummet Mountain is like, how many people commit suicide there? What the fuck? And Scorched Desert is like, okay, cool.
You also forgot right next to Plummet Mountain, there is the Sanctuary of Souls. Like, their graveyard is not... I guess it has to do with, like, the other books. I guess they made the map, like, after they...
But yeah, and because nothing except that city is ever mentioned, and you have, like, on the map, you just have, like, Loot Alley, and then you have the palace, and you have the bowl. The arena is called the bowl, because, sure.
It looks like a bowl.
Yeah.
That's literally what
you
they
have
say.
those things, and you have the palace, but I don't think there's more to it. I think it's just one city.
Yeah.
It never seems to be more.
I also have beef to pick with the environments in general. The Whispers to us are described as pine forest. And you can also see on the map that it's pine trees. Okay?
That's so good.
Maybe I'm too influenced by the German monoculture of pines and fir trees and whatever, but on the one hand, I do know that a pine has needles, not leaves. I know that the needles are technically, biologically, a leaf, but in terms of...
but they are not referred to as such by the general public.
Right. So first of all, Kai having, like, his weird metaphor for leaves and green ball dresses and having to look through the leaves of the trees in order to see the water, fucking dumb. And the next thing is that they don't just maneuver around the foliage, they chop through the thick fucking foliage. What thick foliage in a pine forest would you have?
Right.
Like, not jungle level.
I was about to say, there's like 5 plants down there because the trees are taking up all the light. It's empty as fuck.
Like, that's why the pine forests are so eerie and scary. You do have some vegetation there a lot of times. But not a lot. But it's not chopping through.
You are not in the jungle. Put your machete away. This is not the situation for it.
like maybe if it was one of those like, I don't know, I guess I know in some warmer climates you can still have these kind of thicker forests but then it's a mixed forest. Usually it's always a mixed forest. It's not just a pure pine forest. It made me so unnecessarily pissed off because it took me out of any kind of creativity, imagining what's going on in my head. I was like, no.
It was incredible. It's like, oh yeah, I'm in the pine forest. I am climbing this leafy tree, and you're just like, I don't think you know what a pine is, man. I don't think you know.
I was like, what the fuck do you mean? And then the funniest thing, sorry, just one more thing. The funniest thing to me was that just the fact that they do climb the trees in order to find the water. Because again, imagine you're in a pine tree. These trees, like the trees in the middle of the woods, are mainly just stump and then branches at the top that actually have the needles. So first of all, you'd have to climb a long fucking time to get up. And then when you are up, what do you see? The tops of other trees. You don't magically see the river or something. You just see trees.
I just imagine he's doing it like a bear. He's like hugging the stump and like slowly shimmying upwards. But I also this ties into this hilarious. Listen, okay. Fears are not inherently funny. However, the idea that this kid was scared of heights and his dad was like, climb this tree 100 times until your fear is gone is hilarious.
It's like, honestly,
so
if I would want to train my little assassin child in the least fatherly, caring way possible, I would take him to the place that's literally called Plummet Mountains, and I would put him on a cliff, and I'd be like, you're gonna have to stand over here and look over the cliff. Climb it up and down. Like, make the kid really fucking scared for their life. Take someone with you who's also has like telekinesis power, so they can save the child.
Right, you don't want that thing to die.
Cliff.
You put a lot of effort in.
But I wouldn't make my kid climb a tree. I would want to like traumatize that shit. I take it to Plummet Mountain and be like, you want to plummet?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you want this kid to learn that, like, no, you're capable. Nothing's going to happen to you when you climb up here. So you don't need to be afraid. And it's like, I love that this is also a thing where Peyton gets so hung up on. He's like, he didn't just physically torture his kid. He also made him do this unconscionable thing. And again, I know fear and fears are like, they can be extremely like emotionally harmful. But in the context of this, where it's like, he also made his like 13-year-old son torture people, and he also cut him open so that kid learned to heal himself. Okay, again, let's keep in perspective, and then being like, he made him climb a tree 100 times, and you go, wow, that's brutal. I agree, Peyton. That's real brutal.
That's the worst thing, Not the fact that he like tortured his child,
right?
Not the fact that he like sat next to his child where he was like, you now tortured this other person, because torture fucks you. Like, of course,
yes,
the victim of torture gets fucked up, but inflicting torture also changes your brain.
Inflicting this kind of harm and also killing people is traumatizing to the person who does this.
Yes,
like we have a lot of literature on this. Again, like, obviously the victim is worse off, but it's not, like, people can't just do that. It does a lot to you. And the fact that Kai is just mostly fine, he has a nightmare one time, so Peyton can crawl into his bed and they can cuddle, but that's the extent of things that happen.
And even then, something was wrong with the scene. I remember I sent you something. So this scene in itself, I am a connoisseur and a lover of, literally sharing a bed, of that trope. I think it's so fucking... I'm a cuddler, so I guess that's where...
Yeah, I was about to say. You're also a connoisseur of this in real life. You like this.
It's my shit. So, them having this scene and just cuddling, and, it's like I was like, I don't like you two as characters, but this is my catnip, so I will agree. I will take it. And then, like, one page later, we have the most god-awful banter that this little flame of excitement in my soul immediately died. Because then
my pretty pay.
Because then it was like this picky prince little thing or something. Like, they again, like, throw these all god-awful names. No, I remember,
he calls her his pretty pay. Because the nicknames in this are so god-awful. Peyton gets called Pay endearingly. And Adina, her, like, little sister friend thing, she calls A. That's all. It's just
She's
one
just
letter.
A.
Just A.
It's so funny. It's so funny. She's just A.
Yeah. It's what happens, man. They couldn't afford more letters.
He calls her Clever Pay. Picky Prince Clever Pay.
Clever that's also awful. It's
so fucking dumb.
There's so much banter I just came away from, and literally out loud, alone in my room, I just said awful. I just said this out loud. Or I made gagging noises because it was so bad. Again, this was awful.
I was making noises. I was in pain. I was laughing sometimes when you would send me stuff. It's also when out.
After Peyton finds out his name is Malachi, they have an intimate scene where she's like calls him that, and he's like, "Say it again. You don't know what it does to me when you say my name." And I'm just like, dude, can we not do this? Do we have to do this? Oh my god.
It is weird. One of my, because I was just going through the quotes that I saw, that I still have in my list. One of the things I also thought was a bit funny was, where is it? Where did it go? Right, it's when they're being attacked. And then, because one of the things I liked, there's not a lot of things I liked in this book, but one of the things where I was like, oh, I would have liked to spend more time on this, was the brother relationship between Kit and Kai. Because they have a sort of complicated relationship due to also the relation to their father, which is very different for each of them. And so the ball gets attacked and they're held back, and Kit is like, oh no, I want to like help and go out, and this is my kingdom, these are my people. And then Kai goes, well, there won't be a kingdom for you to rule if you die. And it made me do a double take, because like, this is the wrong way to say this quote.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, that would happen if the kingdom, like, would fall to ruins.
But yeah,
then like, you wouldn't have, this should be, like...
It should be, you can't rule them if you're dead, right?
You can't rule it. It won't be yours to rule if you die, right? That took me out. And I was like, this isn't even, like, this doesn't... it took me out of trying to build this relationship between Kai and Kit, because I was like, Kai, you just said something that's completely dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I can't... You're not letting me focus on your relationship with your brother. Half brother.
The thing there is also that, like, Kit is, at least in some way, meant to be kind of a rival as, like, a love interest. But he is obviously not. This is the same as what happens in Lightlark, where it's like, he obviously has no chance. He is obviously not even an option.
Yeah.
At the two balls, Kit is dancing with Peyton, but they don't even finish their dance because they get interrupted both times. He doesn't get a full dance with her, and most of their, like, scenes where Peyton is flirting with him on purpose to get information about one specific secret passageway, which people totally know is there. They don't get explained. It's mostly just like, oh yeah, and then I spent a bunch of days with Kit. He doesn't get attention. And it's also telling, because we don't have his POV. We don't get anything from him until the very end. And it's just like, he's obviously not going to be a love interest, especially also because for the first half of the book, Peyton's just like, I can't even look at his eyes because they remind me of his father's eyes. Those green eyes, the eyes of the murderer of my father.
Oh,
and
my
I
God.
get so angry.
His had flecks of gold, though. Yeah.
Oh, it happens every time.
So, Kit is, if we take a look at all the characters, Kit is my favorite character of the book, for the simple fact that he is the most consistent to me, at least.
Is he?
I know it's supposed to be from what we see, so I don't know whether it's supposed to be like a big reveal in the end that he is pissed at Peyton, and he's like, I want you to get her and to like fucking like I want her dead, so you better collect her. I don't know whether that was supposed to be shocking, because from the beginning he wasn't introduced like a little puppy dog man. He was just like naive and again, also obviously conditioned to believe the stuff his father told him, but he's not being shown as like a bumbly dude who doesn't know his stuff. Maybe he's a bit naive in terms of romance, because how does he not see that she's like head over heels with Kai? Maybe he just ignores it. But
I mean, I personally thought that like his characterization was wildly inconsistent, because when we have him alone with Kai and their dad, it's like, oh, he loves her dad and he's totally taken in by what her dad says and he's like the good one. But then he talks to Peyton and she's just like, no, you're wrong about the people of Lut. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. I am listening and learning. Which,
but like, see, to me, please continue.
No, he immediately, he folds every time. He's like, yeah, I guess I don't actually know these things. I want you to challenge me. I want to learn new things. I don't think I know, like, the truth about my world from what our father tells us. I want you to teach me more. I want to be better. I want to learn. And that's totally inconsistent with the part where it's like, oh no, he takes everything his dad says as gospel, because that's not, especially because they have this conversation where Peyton is like, well, what do you think about ordinary? Like, and he's like, oh, I know it. And she's like, but you don't believe it. And he's like, well, I know it. And she's like, but it's different from believing. And it's like supposed to imply that like he is like emotionally not on the wavelength that like, oh, these people do need to be executed, definitely post haste. But he's more like, well, maybe they are people who deserve to not be killed. You know, maybe.
Yeah.
Like so his vibes are like flip-flopping back and forth. So at the end where he's having his evil moment is so fucking funny to me. Because it's just
honestly,
like,
it didn't... Yeah.
It's supposed to be, like, it's supposed to surprise you, but I'm like, I don't think he's consistent. He believes different things depending on who he talks to. So I'm not shocked. Like, especially because I wanted to see, and this is the one thing I will say, I was positively surprised by this book, is that Peyton is actually and legitimately powerless. She does not get a magical power.
Yeah.
It does not turn out that she has like a hidden magical power that no one's ever seen before. That's so much better than everything else. She legit remains powerless. And that's why I checked the description of the third book to see if this mentions anything about like her power or whatever. But it does mention that she is supposed to be engaged to Kit now. So when he tells Kai, oh, bring her to me, it's actually because he still wants to marry her. Which
okay, that's so fucking dumb.
Funny.
So to me, the whole scenes where he like talks to Peyton and he's like, oh yeah, tell me, maybe it's because I've known these kind of people, but to me it felt perfectly into this thing of the guy, like the kind of person that's like, oh, I am so progressive and I am listening to you. And of course I'm listening and learning. But at the same time, these people will always be like, okay, not always, but like 99% will always still in the end go with what their parents tell them. Like it's years of brainwashing. So to me, it didn't feel inconsistent because they're like, oh yeah, this is totally what I would expect from a guy who wants to get into a girl's pants, who maybe even tells himself, oh my god, yes, you are so smart. You, like, brain explosion moment. He's like, oh yeah, sure. So to me, it didn't feel inconsistent because, like, I've met people like this. And
you saw it as complexity because seeing as every other character also flip-flops randomly on what they believe and how they act, true. I was like, he's also like this. I don't think this is consistent characterization at all. Because I assumed, before I had looked up what the third book was about, the arc was supposed to be, we start out with Kai being the one who, kills ordinaries, and Kit being the one who's like a bit more open to change and being like, but maybe they can be people too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But then Peyton turns out to be an ordinary. She betrays him, kills his dad, and then he's the one who's like, oh, we should probably kill ordinaries. And Kai at the end is like, wait, but if ordinaries have been around so long and no one's losing power, maybe what's been said about them isn't true. Maybe they are people and they didn't even do anything. So I thought that was supposed to be the arcs that were, mirror each other, like in the opposite direction.
It would make sense, yeah.
But also, this is a beautiful point to illustrate how fucking vague this book is. Because you could take anything away from this. Both of these readings are just as valid as each other. We just don't know because nothing's ever explained.
Yeah. I mean, from the way you say it, I can also definitely see... I think this is truly like the personal experience from these kind of people.
Yeah.
Looking at the evidence that is presented, I fear that your assessment is probably the more probable one. and not like, being like, oh yeah, I've certainly met these kind of people who have like who are in these positions of family obligations and stuff like this, so they do behave like that.
But I mean, mine also supposes that there was like planning involved, which the whole writing of this book also contradicts. So actually, like, this doesn't necessarily make sense. So it's like,
different interpretations. Some people like the whole book, so it depends on the person reading it. But yeah, I did not feel like... I called it hardened kid because that's what you do in Dragon Age. If you traumatize some of your NPC squad mates, they turn into hardened versions of themselves. Hardened kid did not surprise me. The fact that he would think... No, he's not even just thinking it. He knows, like, the fact that Peyton betrayed him obviously would not be nice to him. Like, a girl gets close to him and his brother. Like, she played them both, yeah? Just to, like, betray them in the end. I endorse him. Like,
right, but there's also the point where I'm like, well, this would be better if she did it on purpose from the beginning. There's also this point where she's where she feels guilty about going to the balls with Kit, where she's like, I'm just using him to aura farm with the audience, and and that's what she feels guilty about. But I'm like, but that's not what you did, because he approached you and you didn't even have a plan. You were just surprised by it, and then you were like, oh, I guess, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
You felt like you needed to say yes.
Right there, it's just like, well, the guilt would make sense if from the beginning you had planned to use him, and then slowly you were like, oh my god, he's just also a guy who has emotions, and I feel bad using him because he seems like, a nice guy. But like, it's supposed to frame her relationship with Kit as her leading him on to get information, and her relationship with Kai is like, oh, I'm not supposed to feel for him, but I do. This is more real because I'm not, I'm trying to keep him away from me, but the sparks are flying anyway. But that's not how it reads at all most of the time.
Yeah, no.
And it's so funny when you have like Kit's perspective and he's like, and the woman I somehow became attracted to. It doesn't, like, it's just like such a sentence near the end where I'm just like, am I supposed to take this seriously as him actually having feelings for her? I was under the impression he was interested in her for most of the book. You could easily read it as, hey, the first person my brother enjoys talking to, I'm interested in what kind of person this is. It's just like, it's so bad. And I feel like some of these would be such easy, obvious fixes that it drives me crazy. Because really nothing is improved by the idea that she's just homeless and doesn't have any connections to anyone and no plans, but then randomly gets into the trials. It's like, no, this should be especially because there's this whole the silver savior thing that keeps being brought up, where I'm also like, this would make more sense if after she saved Kai on purpose, other people who are also in the resistance like plant that phrase and like in the gossip machine, and then it becomes, more common parlance.
Yeah.
But that it randomly happened, and then she's like, the people see me as the silver savior. I have to remind them that I'm the silver savior. And I'm like, you didn't even want to compete. What are you doing here?
I always was thinking of the Silver Surfer when I saw that.
Me too. It's also another stupid alliteration. It's
just because you said the thing with I'm just going through this last kid chapter here, and it's the whole thing. It's just a gigantic comedy bit. It's like he's like, I'm not like Kai. I'm not cool and collected and constantly wearing a carefully constructed mask around most. My emotions are in full display. My heart on my sleeve. I'm Kit, the brother who's supposed to be kind and charming. It's like, you don't have it spelled out to us, okay? Set to become the kindest king Ilya has ever seen.
all the alliterations are killing me.
I feel anything but kind. I feel everything but kind. I feel rage and grief, inadequate and hollow, despair and then Kai comes in and is like, you wanted to see me?
You okay, bitch?
My brother's words are soft, sounding slightly concerned, and he should be. Kind kid doesn't act crazed. Kind kid is caring.
Alliteration!
This is like the cool girl monologue from Gone Girl.
It's the cool kid monologue. Also, I love that we never find out what Kit is short for. Kai is short for Malachi. What is Kit short for? Kit Kat?
I told you.
We don't know.
No, I told you it's Schmidt. But this also includes one of my, like, it would be funny, but, like, it could be, like, genuinely, it could be a humor bit, but it's, first, a wrong situation. Second thing, they don't sell me. It's the way he's like, so how are you doing, Kit? And then, you know, Kit gets PTSD and he's like, I'm doing. And then he's like, I'm doing? What the hell of an answer was that? And then he's like, how's mother doing?
She's also doing. That's what I mean, that the end of the book is a comedy. Like, from the fight with the king onwards, it's all fucking comedy to me because it's so stupid.
It's so fucking stupid. Yeah, and the bit that you mentioned with, like, the where he's like, Payton.
What you said.
He's like, when he says, oh, find her, and then he's like, well, you know, Kai's mask slipped, and he can see that for 1 second, but he's like, but I'm not blind. I saw the way she affected him. Saw the way he let his guard down around her, something he used to reserve only for me. Like, jealous much? It seems that she got the best of both of us before stabbing us both in the back by stabbing father through the chest and throat.
This is also so funny. It's like, why some of the sentences are so overlong where you're like, okay, there needs to be a point somewhere and we need to start a new sentence.
Yeah. It's just honestly, I can. But it's,
it is really, there are so many scenes that are supposed to be dramatic or moving, and you just sit there and you go, wow, this was stupid as fuck, and then you move on. Like, there is
and yeah, no,
I was about to, in the first trial, Payton gets stabbed in the stomach by Ace with a spear, and then she runs into Kai, and Kai immediately is like, no, she's dying, I need to save her. And the moment she's back to consciousness, first off, also crazy, she's like, she has a stomach wound that's open, and she's drawing her bow at him, but she's keeping it drawn for like a 2-minute long conversation.
Yeah.
No one's doing that. The draw weight of a bow does not allow for you to keep it like that for this long. And he's like, wow. And she did this all while injured. And then she goes back to consciousness. And then for 2 times in a row, he's just like, he's doing the, who did this to you? But they barely know each other.
Annoying.
He's so attached to her already. But then also she keeps being like, I can't trust this dude. He is the enforcer. He's a dangerous man. He has everything to win in these trials. I don't know what he's after. It's like, dude, he saved your life at no benefit to himself. He keeps protecting you. Why the fuck would you not trust him? You can at least trust that he's down bad for you, because he's already holding monologues like, I would save you over and over if that's what it took for me to stay in your life. And it's just like, I assume this is meant to be romantic, but again, they've had like 5 conversations, okay? Most of which were just exchanging banter. But also,
there's this,
she still has the stomach wound, and he's like, oh, he's so careful around me. And then they're dancing, right? In the woods during the trial, they are just slow dancing together for no reason. And Peyton's like, how long has the sight been watching us like that? Oh no, I didn't even notice. Which, stupid. But then...
There's no foliage, right? So the sight is just standing there between the trees.
But the best part is, she's like, and then he dips me. And I'm just like, with your stomach wound? I was losing it.
I was losing it when he didn't find her wound. I was like,
that was also so... She's like bleeding profusely from his stomach. She even wrapped some cloth around there. And she's like, he's running his hands from my ankles to my thighs, searching for the wound. And it's just like, I think he's stupid. I think he may be, in fact, extremely dumb. What is he doing?
It's like proper logic, and he should know this, right? Because torture also includes like inflicting wounds in places where it's like you're not critical to dying.
Yes.
So why is he feeling up her ankles when he can clearly see that there's no gushing blood coming out like from the legs, right? So obviously it must be somewhere else, and she must actually be bleeding through her 2 thin shirts that she has on. It's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking
There's
stupid.
So many moments that are just so stupid. And then in the second trial, you have the thing where it's like, oh, she has the stone race to crush Ace's head, like, a watermelon, whatever. But then her eyes connect to Kai, and she's like, no, this is his kill. He would be approving of me if I did it, but I am leaving this to him for revenge when this guy almost made him kill Jax. Which was crazy, because this was like the second time where contestants were trying to kill her, but he kills them for her so that she ends up having,
just no killer.
No blood on her hands. Mm-hmm. It was just also so stupid, because again, all these people were brawling for no reason, and she's like beating this guy to death, and Kai's looking over like, thank you for leaving this kill to me. And he's torture killing that guy while she goes for the flag. It's so dumb.
It's really, really weird and stupid, and I know we've said this so many times, but there's so many scenes where you're like, the audacity of this whole story. I know I've already mentioned it, but the bow making scene is one of those scenes for me, where it's like they find during the first challenge, they find random stuff lying around. She finds a shirt, Kai finds a sword, and Braxton has found the healing salve, which Kai randomly finds lying on the floor.
Yeah, it just fell out of his pocket.
And then one of the weirdest, most inconvenient things that she finds is arrowheads. Like, that is as if they would have supplied like just the pommel of a sword, or just the metal part of the sword. She finds arrowheads, and later on we find out that she did also find a bow. I was expecting her to also explain to us how in this pine forest she finds a young willow tree or like a young
fashions a bow from it,
or ash tree, and just makes her own bow and then braids her silver hair into like
God, that's another thing that drove me up the fucking wall. She never ties up her hair. This is described as like, it goes down to her hips. It is long, wavy hair, and it is open almost all the time. One of the rare moments it's braided is when Kai braids it for her. She is fighting with her hair open. She goes through her life with that hair open, and that is crazy.
Yeah.
that hair is so long, it would catch on everything. It's bad for your hair. It looks bad because I assume if you're homeless, you're not washing that shit regularly. What are you doing? Especially, she's on the training ground playing with the bow and arrows, and I'm like, you leave your hair open? Do you know how much it hurts when that shit gets tangled in your bow? Oh,
Yeah.
there's
She
a
should
reason
at
people
least put
tie
it in
it
her
up,
shirt.
okay?
And then
Oh,
she's so surprised at honestly, that was, I think, one of the most altruistic thing Kai could do when he braided her hair, because he probably
yeah.
was like, shit, dude, I can't let this happen.
Yeah, it's like, I'm bad at this, but someone needs to do it. This is
So,
this is horrible.
but yeah, no, it's just so, and then the whole resistance thing. So we're in the third
Yes.
trial, and so the goal is, or what the because it is not as simple as it seems. The king reveals that they have to not only be the first person to be in the center of the maze, they have to kill
The criminal
the
that's
criminal
there. Yeah.
the criminal there. And the plan from the resistance was, I also always think of, I know that the resistance is like a common thing to
It
call
is
these
so
kind of groups,
generic. Star Wars.
but I have but I have to think of Star Wars all the time. Okay. It was one thing. The Imperials was like, okay, I am thinking about the white guards, like the white armor guards from the Hunger Games, but I'm also thinking about stormtroopers. Anyways, the Resistance knows that the last trial will be at the bowl, so they're like, okay, this is where we gotta do the big hit, right? But the way it all goes down, the whole third trial is such a fever dream, because this is also where Kai's powers are like shown in the weirdest fucking way, because what were they called? The blooms
Because
are like mutants who control the maze, and they are positioned around the maze. It's being said. It's not. They don't say that they walk around in the maze. They are around the maze, controlling
on the outside,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So Kai is in there. He is like, I feel the power of Jax, so I can use his teleporting to help me in a fight against another participant. But then Jax runs away. He doesn't feel him anymore, so he's like, shit, I don't have the Jax teleporting powers anymore. At a later point, Kai walks to the border of the maze, and he's like, oh, a bloom got too close. I can use the bloom powers to, change the maze and the way I wanted to. And he keeps that bloom power up to the point where he gets to the center of the maze. Which is like, how does that even work? And then the Resistance knew that they had this wielder guy with them, right? And it is, like, the whole thing is paramount on the fact that the participants cannot fight back, the elites inside. So they send, like, I think 4 silencers in there.
Yeah.
And they don't, at no point do they consider, they couldn't try, they couldn't test it, of course, but at no point they considered, what if the wielder guy who can, like, mimic our silencer powers, and then it all falls apart because of that. And it's just,
honestly,
the third trial is so dumb in terms of
that part
powers.
is stupid. But even if that worked, their real plan afterwards is also stupid. Because it's just what were they even hoping to achieve? To Payton, they say, oh, we just want to show the world that we're there because no one has heard of us ever, right? And that we're good guys, and that will convince people. And Payton's like, yeah, sounds like a good plan. I believe this. This sounds logical. Yeah, sure. Their real plan, for some reason, is to hold the royal family at knife point and then be like, you better be nice to us, people, forever. Which is also like, why would you think that would work? That's insane. I would respect this resistance more if their plan was just to kill the entire royal family and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
At least
yeah.
then no one's in control, and like you have a better chance as a resistance with an organized network to, create a real change. But
Yeah.
their plan makes no sense. It's like, what? Why? And also, just to facilitate the stupidest plan in history is, do we have to introduce this weird room under the box where the royal family sits? Because the first
so
time
stupid, yeah.
we go into the arena for no reason at all. Our contestants...
For the interviews.
No,
oh, you mean the room for the reason.
We're going to the arena for the interviews.
Sorry.
But before the interviews happen, for no reason other than to introduce this random-ass room, our contestants are let into the royal box and then through a trapdoor into a room underneath, where they then hang out for a bit, have some snacks, chill. And then they climb back out to then go into the arena and have the interviews. Now, at first,
so weird.
I thought the scene was simply there that after they open the trapdoor back up, all the men climb out by themselves, of course. But the women need help from our two dashing princes. And it felt like the scene was only there so that Kai can look at Peyton's skirt while he's helping her up there after she thought she could do it herself, but then ends up too weak to do it.
And rip her dress, let's not forget.
Of course, which also, side note, for every ball, Peyton wears a dress, and she is obsessed with slitted dresses. All these dresses have a huge slit up one or two legs so she can show off her cool legs and her cool ass dagger that her father left her, which again brings me back to the king personally went to murder your dad. Do you really want to have such a prominent memento of someone you don't like? The king obviously would probably recognize this as if he had enough of a personal beef with your dad to go and kill him. What are you doing, Peyton? But also it's always described as like, oh, the fabric of my dresses, like, the skirts are so swishy. And then I'm like, well, then the slits are not very visible most of the time because, right? The fabric is flowing around.
It depends so much on the fabric and on the position of the slit.
And honestly, also, the word billowing is used way too many times in regards to items of clothing where it doesn't belong in the story. To be sure of when something is truly billowing and when something is just moving mildly. So it could be anything.
It's honestly, it is a little bit confusing in that way. But yeah, the whole third act plan is so fucking whack. I'm still so surprised they decided that they would. Okay, yeah, during the last trial, whatever. Yeah, sounds cool. But it truly felt like they did not plan to get that far.
Right, it makes no sense. It's like, what is even the point? What would this achieve?
And, like, we're introduced to Callum, and we're supposed to think that he's this, like, charming, or not necessarily charming, but, like, good-willing leader who knows his stuff and, like, knows his people, and he says, your father would be proud of you, Peyton. You know, like, he has things going for him, which I think is great for him. And then he stumbles through his speech at the third trial with absolutely no knowledge of the human condition. You know, he's just like, just he goes up there and he says, yeah, believe we aren't harmless. Kill the man. You know, it's like, it's not.
Right, it's just like, what did you think would happen with all the guards there? You have a few silencers, but not that many. What do you think would happen here, man? What the fuck are you talking about?
It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb.
Like, again, I would respect it if they chose this time to assassinate the king. I still can't believe the climax of the story is the king and Peyton alone on a patch of mud, duking it out by themselves. Why?
It's so fucking stupid.
It is.
When she runs into him, I expected it to be Kit, sort of, because she was like starting with like a tall man, blonde hair, and then it got to he looks super strong and brawny, and I was like, oh, okay, it's the king. At first, like for half a second, I was like, is this Kit? Are you gonna have like a dramatic Kit interaction, which would make more sense? No.
But the thing also is that throughout the book, you cannot escape Peyton repeatedly being like, I remember how the king drove his sword through my father's, chest. I remember his green eyes. I remember it so clearly. And then in the fight with the king, there's the reveal that the king was like, it was not I who drove the sword through your father's chest, but my teenage son. It was his first kill. Ha ha! And you're like, wait, first off, why is she misremembering this so hard? At the time this happened, she had no emotional attachment to Kai. Why would she forget that there was a kid present who did the murder while the king stood also next to him, right? Yeah. Why would she misremember that? That's really weird. And why would there not be a ping of recognition when she meets Kai again? And it's like, wait, this feels familiar. Even like the fact that she misremembers this is so weird. I like legitimately. I don't understand.
But the thing is, and that made me have the biggest ick ever. What the thing is, she does say, "Oh my god, that's why he was so familiar. That's why there was this instant connection.
Oh,
that's why there was like this feeling of knowing." And I'm like, yeah, but shouldn't you then have a gut reaction of disgust and like nausea, and not a gut reaction of I want to jump?
Your first reaction was like, oh, that's a hot guy who looks rich. I better steal his money. It wasn't like, he seems dangerous. Right? So it adds nothing except for the twist at the end is like, so I run from my father's murderer or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, but it's, I'm again left at the point where it's like, is it not bad enough to know that this man kills innocent children?
Yeah.
I love that I qualified this with innocent. That this man kills children and innocent people for no other reason than the way they were born, which happens to be the same as you. Is that not already enough to find him monstrous and off-putting and to think that you could never love him? And shouldn't love him?
She does at some point say, wait, what was it? She does at some point, I can't find the quote, I have too many.
Yeah.
She does at some point say that to envy him, or like to feel pity for him. Yeah, she feels no pity for the boy. I feel no pity for the boy before me. To envy Kai is to envy a murderer. Right? She has that conscious thoughts previously. But
they never really mean anything. So it's just like, what does it... Especially because he was also a teenager at the time and his father forced him to kill people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of blame to be laid at the hands who held the sword if they were a teenager who was forced by their dad to do it. It's like, well... Maybe not in the most literal sense, the king killed your dad, but in all the ways that matter, he did. So it feels weird to now have this as the hang-up where it's like, oh, now they're really enemies, for the next book. And this is why she can't think favorably of him. And it's just like, but we didn't need that.
Yeah,
It's also
so stupid.
It's also just like, we forgot to mention this, but... The criminal at the center of the maze is no one except Adina, Peyton brought her to the castle to sew her gowns for her so she could have the coolest, bestest outfits. And she got tortured and then, put into the maze, and then she gets killed by Blair. And it's pretty gruesome. Well, not like it hits emotionally, because the book's bad, you know, like you're not attached to anything.
Yeah.
But it emphasizes that this bright, innocent, good child was brutally tortured and then murdered. And you're like, wow, they really did this to their black girl character just so Peyton can have some emotional developments. I can't believe we're doing this in the year of our Lord 2019 or whenever this came out.
The thing is, they didn't just do this to Adina. The two other characters who are black, like described as dark-skinned, are Jax and Braxton, which I was like, why are these two characters the only ones who are like strong and fast? Like, that already felt weird.
Right.
But then Jax also dies like a death, or like nearly dies a death through the hands of Ace, so that Kai can have his character
But then also
development.
we have Sadie, who's ambiguously non-white,
yes,
and she also gets brutally murdered by Kai to save Peyton, and then Peyton also is like, oh no, I feel so bad about Sadie being dead, and then she can, through romantic flirting and touching, be distracted by Kai from the death of this woman.
Oh my god.
And
that was so awful. That was so fucking awful. I hated it. Because it's like, I thought, oh, what are we doing? Oh, she's like...
She's experiencing emotion.
She's
That's
having... Crazy. She's under shock. And then, I nearly wrote this... I nearly wrote this quote down, but it was too long for my taste, so I didn't write it down. But maybe... Can I find it immediately in my tabs to pages?
While you're looking, I also just, that whole scene, I was just constantly thinking, how do her clones work? Because her ability is to make duplicates of herself, but it's never explained how it works. All we hear from Peyton is like, oh, in training, the fights with her only ended when somebody found the real her, and then all the clones disappeared. And I was like, but what does that even mean? What do the clones do? Is like, the pain they experience, is it shared? If one of them is injured, does this injure Sadie?
Right.
You know, if she pulls them back into it, are all of them like, well, they're not all people, so what are they? It's abilities that no thought was put into. The same way everyone is stupid as fuck. Ace is described as just standing there and making a bunch of duplicates of himself as illusions, and everyone's like, I immediately lost track of him. And it's like, he's still standing in the same spot. The duplicates are not in the same spot. He's not moving. How did you lose track? He's right there.
He didn't switch.
Right?
I found it. So she's absolutely like, he's like, tell me, did you hurt you? And she's like, I'm fine. I'm not fine. You know, like, she's going through it. And then he goes like, hey, look at me. Don't look her. Look at me. Focus on my eyes. I know how much you like to stare into them. And then it's like, okay, it's getting uncomfortable. Not even like 5 sentences later, she goes, my eyes drift to his lips, trailing over the sensuous curve of them. He's so very easy to look at, to admire. Everything about him is alluring, annoyingly alluring, distracting so easily. Distracting. And I like underlined it. I wrote a girl. I swear. She's like, no, this gave me the ick so hard. Like, Peyton,
it is.
I also have no respect for her. Like, I have less respect for Kai, but I also have no respect for
her. I
have
no respect for her either, because it's always like, oh, he's a monster. He's a killer. He's the future enforcer. Oh, he has dimples when he smiles. Like, that's how it reads every time.
I was waiting to read the words death incarnate, because I feel like every good romantasy book with a shadow daddy, and I think Kai does qualify somewhat as a shadow daddy.
Kind of.
Sorta, kinda, maybe, gonna wanna. I expected him to be described as death incarnate, but I think at some point they say bringer of death.
Yeah, Deathbringer or something so clunky and stupid that you sit there and go, this isn't even cool. This just sounds bad. It's not cringe, it's
Yeah.
just bad.
But our bringer of death is so fucking stupid, as we've already, like, a lot of times have talked about. Because at some point, they talk about the Imperials being absolute douchebags to basically everybody in Loot. Which is one of the things where I'm like, you know what, that checks out.
Yeah.
Of course, the executive would use this to be, like, a bully.
Of course
then
police are awful people.
She
We knew
opens...
this.
And she opens up to Kai, and she's like, oh yeah, I got punched by this guy, it was really horrible. And he was like, and what? You just took the hit? And I was like,
Haha, yeah.
sir, what is she supposed to do? Of course she just takes the hit. She just told you about how, like, she feels like she can't, like, how she's literally, like, part of the oppressed living in Loot, and he goes, you just took the hit?
It's, where he's like, well, you're way too good to let someone punch you. And she's like, well, yeah, I let him punch me. Like, of course. I did it on purpose. Like, I can't fight back. It's the fucking police.
Yeah.
But that reminds me, like, something I also want to talk about is his, like, the enforcer bit. From the start of the story, everyone's like, he's the future enforcer. And everyone in the story treats it as if it means anything. But there is no current enforcer. There is no information on any previous enforcers. So all we're left with is like, okay, his daddy made up a cool title for him and everyone acts like it matters. Because, right? And it's just like, what does this position even mean? Like, nothing, right? It's also, again, a terrible word. It is long, it is clunky. It would make sense if he was his brother's shadow, if he was his brother's knife, like something that's like, implies he's doing the dirty work for his brother, and that's like, you know, a bit more scary, because enforcer just sounds like regular police. Imperial sounds more dangerous than enforcer, right?
Yeah.
So that's already bad. But just the idea that if you wanted to kill all those people who are left over from your purging of society, that you just have one guy for it, that's also crazy. What? Why just the one? Shouldn't you have like a whole like group of people who do this? Why? What? This is so weird.
I found the quote. He is called the Deliverer of Death.
Oh, even worse, yeah.
But regarding this enforcer thing, aside from everything you just said, I felt like, okay, I was confused with the enforcer thing. In the end, in the Kid chapter, it said that he now is the appointed enforcer. Like, at some point between his father dying and Kid becoming king, he does become the enforcer. Which, again, poses the question, what was the hindrance to becoming... Like, he always is like, I'm the future enforcer. Was... Because his dad says... Or Kai, implies a lot of times that he is going to be his father's enforcer. So him being enforcer was not attached to Kid becoming king. Right? But the king dies, so you're just like, okay, you're just enforcer now.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It was like, it was also not contingent on winning the trials, because it's not like he won the trials either, right? The results of the trials are ignored because, like, the king got killed, everyone's, like, busy with something else. But the enforcer thing really, it bugged me so much, and I was like, isn't there also, like, a crazy easy fix for this? Just have the king already have an enforcer who has the same powers as Kai, but also, because the enforcer is always the guy who has this power, which is super rare, and we know powers don't get inherited along what your parents have, Kai should not be the king's child. Kai should be an orphan. Like, I don't know why Jax isn't adopted. Kai should be a kid they found that had these powers, and they took in and trained, and that's also why he's treated so much worse than Kid at every level, and why he should feel worthless and like this is the only thing he can do, right? That would make way more sense. And it's like, well, the old enforcer is still around and he could get killed in like the final thing with the dad. And then it would make sense that he would become the new enforcer. It would make sense if there's like this shadowy guy who could pop up anywhere, who's like unbeatable. And it's like, oh, that's why he's still in training, because the other guy's still around and he's still apprenticing, whatever. It is so insane to be like, oh yeah, the king randomly had a kid that had like the most coolest powers ever,
useful
that was
thing,
so convenient for this one specific job. And it's like, no, he should have gone out and found one and then trained it, like, right? I don't get. I also so hate bad
how they glaze over the fact, like they mention it very shortly, where it's like, so the king had the first wife died during childbirth, very tragic, falls in love again with the second love of his life. I don't know whether they say what the relationship with the first wife is.
She doesn't even have a fucking name.
The second wife, he fucking adores her. Kai's mother is like, he would pull down the stars for this woman, right? And she, as Kai implies, no, he says, I think, yeah. He's like, I love my mom. My mom is the best person ever. My mom was there for me when nobody was there for me. Like, I'm so, like, love her to bits and pieces 1,000 times. And then I think Peyton is like, well, what does your mom think of all this torture training business? And he's just like, And it's never addressed again. At no point do we see this loving mother try to defend her child. Because we know that the king would do something if the mother said, hey, my loving husband, I want you to treat our son a little bit differently. He would absolutely do so, just because he's so in fucking love with this woman. But the fact that she doesn't say anything and that Kai thinks that's okay.
It's actually also crazy that, like, Kit is his favorite kid when Kai is the kid from the woman he loves so much. Mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. Like, there are many ways in which this dynamic could be made interesting and compelling, but none are taken. This is by far the stupidest version you could choose. Mm-hmm. And it's also... Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is on purpose or if there's like a thematic intention behind it, but you have the king who's like the worst person ever, bar none. Like, he is shit on every level. And it's like, Kai says this so often. He gives her a look he only ever gives my mother. He smiles at her in the way he only does for my mother, whatever. And you have Kai in his mind explicitly being like, Peyton is the only thing I love. I could never love anyone. Like, I am only like this for her. Where it's like, is this purposefully drawing parallels, or is this just...
No,
is this
I don't
just
think
bad
so.
writing? Yeah, no. I also think
for
so.
Sure.
But I was like, this could be an interesting parallel to draw. But, I mean, it's not happening. It's... Right? Like, it's not... They're not doing anything with this.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Moment, but
I was like, oh my god, her father's name is Adam. What if this is like a Bible reference? And I was like, in the same way that you just said, is this supposed to be parallel? I was like, nah.
It's
no.
Listen, it's not Adam and Eve, it's Peyton and Kai, okay?
It's Malachi and P. Yeah, that's.
It makes me crazy. I only noticed this because I was rereading the beginning to send some absolute dogshit quotes to a different friend, and it turns out the king does have a name. He is named once. His name is Edric, Cedric without a C.
I did not notice that.
I also didn't notice this the first time reading. I was like, wow, the king's not even named. But the mom is never named. We have no idea what her fucking name is. This woman is an object. Everyone's just like, the queen, my mother. No one refers to her by a name. She just doesn't get one. It's crazy. Yeah. Also, I will say, when when it was like, oh, the king came to personally kill Peyton's dad, that was when I was assuming, oh, Peyton's gonna have like some super special power that the king heard of and was trying to like find or stamp out. I was like, there has to be something more to it, otherwise he wouldn't be there personally, right? Especially because when Peyton said, oh yeah, that's why the king killed my dad, Callum was like a little cagey about it, and it's like, oh, okay, he was just cagey because actually the one who held the sword was Kai, but like, why would he be cagey about this? Why wouldn't he, right? Like, I would just assume Peyton also knows who did it and is like just saying the king did it because obviously he was also there and clearly it was his order.
And because it,
So I thought there was something more there. I thought that like, oh, her dad was definitely, there was something else more, but there wasn't, because this is the stupidest book alive. The stupidest book out there.
Yeah.
No, but there was nothing more.
Honestly, saying I was thinking that there's more there can be applied to a lot of things in this book. A lot of times I was being like, ooh, is there going to be more to this? But it ended up not happening.
I just remembered the king, right? Almost from the beginning, knows who Peyton is and knows she doesn't have any powers. And he never does anything about it except prevent Kai and Peyton from kissing at the last ball by sending in a guard to cockblock Kai. That's all he ever does. Which is crazy.
So stupid.
That's
it was
insane.
So fucking stupid.
Like, he watches this woman flirt with his heir and his, like, little killer machine and does nothing, right? He doesn't even talk to them and be like, you know she's just using you to win these trials, right? And Kai could be like, well, even if she does, I don't care because she's the only one who ever saved me and I love her because I'm well-adjusted. And Kid could be like, well, he thinks she does that because she's poor and he thinks bad of the poors, but I think Peyton's a good girl. She's really nice. She cares about people so much. She wouldn't do that. But nothing. The king is just watching this and grinding his teeth to dust and is just standing there like, oh, I hate this kid. I need to kill her somehow. And then it never happens. It's not even that he tells Blair to do it. Yeah. Blair just hates Peyton for her own reasons.
It's, I feel like the timeline of this book feels like, and the intensity and stuff, like one of those reality dating shows. Where you're always wondering, like, how, like Love Island and that kind of stuff, where, like, how can it be that these people have these strong emotions, like both attachments, but also rivalries and stuff, in the span of, like, 1 to 2 days? But it's just because it's so intense, right? In these dating shows, all these people get is alcohol and their phones and books and whatever taken away, right? They have nothing else to do except for make out and get drunk. So I feel like that's a similar time range for at least this book, because I can't explain it otherwise, why suddenly they have such intense emotions of hate, love, kinship between these characters. I can't come up.
The thing is that, like, obviously this whole story is just built around facilitating these different romantic scenes
of course, yes.
Lauren thought of. But I think the crazy part is also that these feelings, like, oscillate weirdly. Like, they're super intense in the first trial, and then in between it's like back to a will they, won't be, and then it's super intense again, and then it's again like, no, actually there's nothing between us. And it's just like, pick a lane, man. Either you're both crazy horny, or you're not. Like, you can't just keep going back. I'm getting whiplash. Yeah. It's annoying.
I wrote that exact word in one of my Goodreads, like, process things. It was like, I'm getting whiplash from this book. Because I think that was... Oh, no, it was before the first trial. But yeah, especially during the first trial, like, they snuggle cuddle. You know, she lays her head on his shoulder while she sleeps. And they have the slow dancing scene. And before during the ball, they have the dancing and all that. And then afterwards, it's back to punching the tree at the training yard and having a weirdly sexually charged archery lesson.
God, that archery lesson was the worst thing ever.
No, I think after the first trial they have the weird fighting sequence in the training.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, I agree with what you said, that it feels like the interpersonal, like the relationship progress that they make during the trials is like wiped away between the trials.
It's just it jumps into this super intense protectiveness from Kai like way too early, but then it pulls back, and that also feels weird. Like, if you want him to be super intense and a bit crazy, you can do that. I mean, it would at least be something.
He goes crazy about one of the Imperials, like laying hands or like approaching Peyton, and then he's immediately like, oh, maybe I'll just chop his hands off so he can never touch a woman again. And I was like, Kai?
Okay. Yeah, sometimes he has like these ultra violent outbursts where it's just like, okay, this is just here because Lauren Roberts read like this in a fic on Wattpad and was like, oh, this is really good. I need this too. This is a good, funny thing to happen.
Yeah. It's this weird, the alpha male thing that we also know of, like,
it's like,
recent,
don't you dare touch my woman. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, okay, I'm pro you being against people sexually harassing someone, but do not forget, you also keep sexually harassing this woman, okay? Like, look in the mirror, man. Like, come on. You are also doing this.
It is certainly.
But you are not innocent.
During the whole time of the book, and that's what's one of the reasons why, like, when I finished it, I was like, I don't know what to write down, is that, like, with all the other bad books that we've read, and I feel like Serpent and Dove goes a little bit into the direction, because it's the same, I suppose it's the same sort of love balance, where it's like one is the hunted and the other one is the hunter, and she has to hide and all of that, is that, at least with Serpent and Dove, I felt like the author wanted to try and tell us a certain story. Like, the author was like, I want to tell a story about this witch, and, like, things happen, and then, you know, she had an idea. But with this book, I genuinely felt like there was no... there was no, how do you call it in German, roter Faden?
There was no through line. There was no connecting tissue. Yeah.
At the end of the book, I was like, I don't even know what just happened.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is crazy because I was at the halfway point and I was just like, what even, like, where are we going? I have no idea where this book will end up because there are no priorities. It's like...
Yeah.
Because if you read it at, like, the same point in time, it's like the Hunger Games is like, it's about them going to the games and killing each other and trying to survive. The point is that Katniss wants to survive because she has things she needs to go back for that she cares about. But because Peyton's just homeless and her only friend is this one girl who she immediately also gets to the palace to make her dresses, it's like, she doesn't have...
Whom she forgets. She forgets her.
Honestly, that was like when it was like, oh, I have been training here for a while, for 2 weeks or whatever. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, the narrative just totally forgot about the side character she left back at the alley, huh? And then she was like, oh, I feel so guilty for forgetting him. And I was like, oh, wait, she literally did? Because I was like, oh, the narrative probably just tells me that she thought about her friend and was like, God, I want to help her, but I can't leave. Like, I'm locked in here. It's not like I can go anywhere. Yeah. Right? Because especially in the first days, she's literally locked in a room. But then she's like, oh, I will never forget about her again. And I was just like, what? That was...
And when Adina is like, oh, I knew you wouldn't forget about me, she was like, yeah.
But that also never goes anywhere. But also this reminds me, she's locked in her own room for like 2 days with nothing to do. And she's like, oh, I'm losing my mind in here. I have nothing to do. The first time she enters the room, she's like, wow, it has a bathroom with like flowing hot water, you know? 2 days later, her guard is like, hey, there's a dinner you have to be at. Also, you might want to change. And she's still wearing her dirty clothes from the street. And I'm like, wait, you didn't take the chance to bathe? In those 2 days where you had nothing to do? You didn't find the other clothing that was in your room? What? Are you stupid? That's insane. What? You didn't play in the bathroom just because you were bored because you had 2 days with nothing to do?
Right.
Wouldn't you be curious?
Check out...
What?
Yeah. Like a bathtub? Bro.
That was insane.
But she's so weird in the beginning anyways. I was looking through the rest of the quotes. She says this on page 13, so very early in the beginning, where she describes her relationship with Adina, and where she's like, oh, Adina looks at me like I'm the hero and not the villain. And I was like, I remember when I read this, when I started reading this was one of the reasons where I was like, I can't do this. I read that and I was like, I can't.
I mean, honestly, that is pretty stupid, because it's like, you didn't even do anything, Peyton. What are you talking about?
I was thinking, like, does she think she's the villain because she's stealing?
Is she the villain because she's putting Adina in danger because she's powerless, and if people found out, they'd also send Adina into the fucking desert?
I was like, I don't know. When she was like, I'm the hero, not the villain, I'm like, fine, make me your villain.
It's just there's so many parts. We didn't even mention, like, the guard that is, like, assigned to her
Lenny.
is actually also part of the resistance for no reason.
I
it's
love
just
Lenny.
so he does nothing. He doesn't matter. I don't understand what his point is.
I was like, I thought this was going to be the moment where it's like, yeah, like she also learns that the other way around, obviously she has every right as an ordinary to be like, all of you are fuck-ass bitches, but I thought maybe this is the moment where she realizes, okay, on the other side, there's also people who are kind and, like, could be convinced, but
then he's also part of the resistance.
Is part of the resistance, and meaning he is already convinced, right? So there's no, he's just there, and then it's supposed to be like a plot twist where we find out he's part of the resistance, but I'm like, well, yeah, he's the only nice Imperial we've met so far. I am not surprised. Also, he's a little eavesdropper. He has the mega ears, the things that poor man must have listened to his time at the palace. He's like, please, Kai, stop talking.
That's really funny. But also, he's not even, like, the resistance is like, oh, there are also elites on our side, but he's not an elite. He also has one of the powers that are considered, like, lesser, mundane, which, again, there's no rhyme or reason for these assignments. It's just like, oh, the powers with which you can hurt people, those are the best ones. Those are elite. Like the, fighting ones and the defensive ones, those are like the good ones.
Yeah,
but mundane powers are stuff like psychics, people who can overhear stuff, like people who can make weak barriers, people who can cast illusions. And I'm just like, that shit would be crazy useful.
Yeah.
Especially, like, in, like, I don't know, it's like, politics is not fighting most of them. It's not like anyone ever interacts with, like, we don't know what's outside this country. We know there's these other cities, but, like, this country has no outside contact ever, which is insane.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, hey, you can be looked down on and an outcast in this magic city where, like, some people have, like, crazy cool powers. But outside the city, no one has magic. So if you just go to a different country, people will love you there for the magic you can do. Yeah. Because none of them can do magic. So it's like, what? Yeah. It's not like people are locked in there. It's not like no one can leave.
Because the king says, like, all the other countries or something will value him or envy him for his elites. And I'm like, they would probably envy you for anybody who has powers in your city. Like,
and it's also just like, dude, do you know how useful psychics and mind readers and all of that are? Right. Why wouldn't, like, what? Shouldn't the king, like, it's like, oh, the king hates them, so, like, all the fatals are, like, also got killed or whatever. And it's just like, they'd be crazy useful. Of course the king would have a secret army of all those dudes. Like, of course he would want to keep them, right? What are you talking about?
Silencer. Yeah, it's weird.
That's insane. Like, this ranking makes no sense. And it's even more insane that Kai's like, oh, I've never met a psychic before, so I don't know what they feel like. As if you had a guy who you're training to take out everyone who you want, you wouldn't collect one of every kind of power and make him train to use all those powers and know what they feel like, so he can always identify and use those powers in any fight or situation. What the fuck?
It's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
That's so stupid.
And with the fatals, I also felt like, yeah, of course, you're leaving, like, an open flank if you were to have your own fatals, but the best way to make people loyal to you is by being the best option for them. So if you are like, guys, you're gonna have so much fucking money, you're gonna have all the privileges, like, you're gonna have everything you want, I'll butter your ass every second day of the week, why would they go to the resistance except for morals, right? And that you can, like, train out of people by conditioning and just picking them up early instead of being like, all the fatals are evil, kill them.
Right. Another crazy part, because you mentioned morals, is also that, like, the cleansing is recent. The fucking eugenics cleansing is very recent. But it's just recent, so we can blame Kai's father specifically. It mentions that 30 years ago the plague happened, and then people got magic powers, and it was only recently that his dad decided to kill all the ordinaries or send them into the desert or whatever. So they had been living alongside for a long... Where it's just like, wouldn't a lot of people know ordinaries, have ordinary friends? Wouldn't it be so hard to convince them? Like, I totally understand that, like, you could convince me that a plague happened and then some people got magic powers and then some people didn't. Then you could be like, oh, they're weaker and they're gonna, they're the ones who brought the plague. They're, the ones who are at fault for all this. Like, you could spin this, but then do it 25 years later or whatever. That's really strange. That I feel like everyone would be like, but no, I know I have known ordinaries all my life and my powers never got any less or anything.
Yeah. It's so dumb. I found the part in the book where they describe it. Although the purging trials are nothing to laugh about, I can't help but find it comical that they are meant to be a celebration. Right, because the Great Purging 3 decades ago, blah blah. And then it's so weird. The one sentence is like, the trials were created to showcase the people's supernatural abilities and bring honor to the only elite kingdom. Next sentence, I wouldn't say murdering innocent people brings honor to me, my kingdom, or my family. Like, why would you want to showcase how fucking cool your people are by killing them?
But it's also, there it's again, like, Kai is way too aware of the morals of the things that are happening when he should be like, no, it's honorable to fight to the last to win this because it shows how good your powers can be, right? Like, you show off your best and sometimes you die, and that's, that's on you for not being cool enough, but he shouldn't be like, well, murder is wrong. He should not be thinking that ever. At least at the beginning, before he gets development or whatever.
And also, wait, this is so weird. Yet every 5 years, young elites are chosen to compete in these games, blah blah. And then, but the part that has me shaking with both laughter and rage is that the lesser elites, those with defensive and mundane abilities, are made to believe that they have a chance in winning. So, wait, I thought only the good ones are elites.
I thought mundanes are not elites. It is so... This is also the problem. Like, and the way this part sounds is like, wait, no, the purging, so the killing of the ordinaries as well, happened 30 years ago. But then later on it says it didn't. So it's like, I don't know what the truth is because the book's crazy vague about it.
Yeah. Also,
so I don't know what's true.
They aren't chosen, but rather born into their fate by the power and higher status. Despite the king insisting that the killing of fellow elites in the arena is frowned upon, it's no secret that death itself is a contestant in the trials. Dying teenagers apparently make things exceptionally more entertaining, and if the elites won't do the killing, the king will pull the strings in the arena.
See, there it's also just like, okay, but why are they teenagers? And also, like, listen, yes, 19-year-olds are still teenagers, but the Hunger Games are shocking to an audience in this reality because they're killing kids. They're killing, like, what, 12 to 17-year-olds? Or what?
It starts at
11?
12. At
yeah,
12.
They kill 12 to... Yeah. That is way worse than being like, yeah, this is like a fully grown adult, but he's still younger than other adults. Right? It's just... What? The trials... Again, they make no sense, but that's not news. We knew this.
Yeah, that's not news, but it's still the whole... Everything about it is so weird. Just the fact that... Also, wouldn't it be more fun and interesting to see, like, if you want to show off your powers, that's obviously people who are the most trained, so wouldn't it be the most fun to have...
Right, shouldn't it be people who volunteer?
I'm thinking back to the trope video. It's like, wouldn't it be fun to have a tourney? Instead of a fucking trial where people die, like, wouldn't it be more fun to be like, I'm of the family blah blah blah, and I have the biggest big dick energy power, and then, you know, these people compete and they're like adults.
You know what's really, really funny? Red Queen opens with our main character watching a tournament in which the nobles, who all have silver blood, by the way, and they have, like, silver hair and silvery skin, like, they're all very light looking.
Shut up, they have silver hair?
That's why it's Red Queen, because people with red blood typically don't have powers. Yes, silver. Silver.
They have silver hair?
Well, some of them. They definitely have silver blood, and they blush silver and all of that, so...
Continue.
Anyway, there is a tournament where all these nobles compete regularly to show off their house and bring honor to, like, their family and their powers.
Yeah.
That's how we start off Red Queen.
I can't. Like, I did look up some of the, like, I tried to find out, it's like some TikToks and Reddit and stuff where people are like, okay, these are comparisons between the Red Queen and Powerless. Some people have also said that some dialogue is, like, lifted from Unravel Me. But I mean, I've never
that
read
is so really funny. Unravel Me is also bad dystopia with, like, magic powers, which...
Isn't that the one with Aaron Warner?
Yes, it is with Aaron Warner.
Yes. See, I know my big series.
My silly boy. But
my blonde man.
He sucks so bad. I love that for him. But no, the thing, again, there's so many similarities on the surface that are just weird. Like, again, the little sister who's also a seamstress, like, very talented. In Red Queen, it's actually also more interesting because it's her real, like, little sister, not just someone she burst down the street. She lives in a normal family. And she also steals because they're a poor family. But her sister is mad about this because, like, obviously that invites, like, danger. And she just got this apprenticeship. Yeah. And then, I don't know what happened, but, like, they're low on money. So her sister has to go out and try to steal something and then gets her hands broken for it. And obviously that is incredibly hard on her, and, like, they have this really complex relationship. Instead of here, it's just like, oh, my little sunshine, my perfect little not quite sister who's so good and too good for this world, cinnamon roll, too precious, you know, who then gets killed. And there is so much other stuff where it's just like, wow, yeah, our protagonist steals from one of the princes and then gets brought to the palace later. But in Red Queen, it makes way more sense and is like
Sense, yeah.
logical. Whereas here, it's just stupid. Again, it's the stupidest version of everything.
I did see that as a comparison, that even the wording was very similar, where it's like both of the books are like, oh no, they broke her seamstress fingers, they broke her sewing fingers. She'll never, like, that distinct focus on that. So that where I was like, man, this...
There are just some similarities that are so weird. Because it's also just like, again, I read this a while ago, but like 10 years ago or whatever. But like a lot of things still stuck with me. Like, for example, our main character, whose name I don't even remember, tries to steal from one of the princes. Okay. And immediately gets caught by him. Because he is trained. He's like, oh, okay. He immediately catches her. But he's the older prince, the one who's like the nice boy, you know? And he feels bad for her. Because she's so poor, she has to steal. So he offers her a position as a servant at the castle. Because he's like, oh my god, your life is so sad.
I gave you fake news. Maven is the prince. The mayor is the main character.
Isn't the nice prince called Cal? Am I crazy?
There's a mayor, a Cal, and a Maven.
Yeah, Cal is like the fire one, Maven is the mind reading one, and mayor is the... But like, Cal's like, oh yeah, oh my god, that's so sad that you're poor. That's like horrible. I'm offering you a position so, you know, you don't get in trouble with the law anymore. Like, obviously, like... So he's like a really nice boy. And, like, that makes sense. It makes sense for someone poor to end up at the palace where they don't really belong because someone took pity on them. And it shows a lot of the character, right? To be like, oh, you know, he's like, obviously, it also is like, of course, someone super well-trained would notice when someone's trying to steal from them. Like, come on. Right? Like, again, that's why it's like, okay, this is like the stupidest version of Red Queen, because in Red Queen the things that happen make sense, but here they don't.
Yeah. I loved that she was like going through all of these thoughts that a thief would have. It's just annoying that she thinks about them twice in a row in like the 10 pages of being like, I cannot steal, like, I can only steal a certain amount of money because he will notice both the leather stealing dude, a leather buy dude, and the Kai. It's like, they're gonna notice if I take too much. And then with the leather thing dude, that's why she's like, oh, I'm just gonna take 3 instead of all 6. But with Kai, who has 20 shilling, like, 3 times the amount that the previous guy had, right? She goes like, oh, I am again stealing half, which he would be more noticeable. She takes 10 of the 20 shillings, right? And that guy doesn't notice. He only noticed when he goes pat on his bag.
It's the crazy part is also that, like, she steals stuff all the time. She's like, oh, for breakfast I steal an apple. For this I steal that and that. She steals stuff all the time. She has silver hair. As if that's not super recognizable.
Yeah.
As like, why doesn't she like make it look brown and like not like, right? Dyeing your hair a shitty color is not difficult, especially if it's light.
Yeah. It only really would make sense if, like, literally everybody had different hair. It was like the JoJo meme of, like, who's this, like, there's a stand user in the crowd, you know? But if we only have a couple of people with bright or colorful hair, and then we have tons of people who have just natural hair colors, then yeah, I totally agree with you. But I mean, we already went over the fact that she should have had some sort of disguise.
She should be hiding her identity instead of being like, oh, I'm the silver girly, look at me. I'm strutting around the street. Yeah.
In all honesty, she should probably have short hair, because then, you know, if she had like short and then natural colored hair, people might even, when she was still a child and younger, would have mistaken her for a boy. Yeah. And that would be like, perfect, stealing, he's just one of the kids, right? Try to find a brown-haired, mousy-haired boy in these streets. But her becoming a vixen, right? Also, how can she be curvaceous if she's also
leaner than all the other scrawny girls?
if she's also malnourished? Again, I know the big boob life. Okay, I know it's not a choice per se, but if you during your formative puberty years are malnourished, even if your genes want to give you the big bazongas, there's like
I was about to say, if you don't have enough to eat, then simply the fat is not there to sit up there.
Yeah.
It's not on your hips either. It's nowhere because you can't afford it because you're malnourished.
Right? Like you can be slim and have bigger proportions, but only if you have the calories to back it up.
Right. Like the story just wants it both ways. She's super hot, but she's super thin, but she also has like nice tits and a nice ass that Kai stares at, by the way, regularly. God, his POV is awful. It is, oh, God.
I hate it so much.
Oh, you know, this just reminded me of a thing near the beginning where you have Kai and Kit sparring, and it's like, we're both shirtless, and you can see the tattoos on our chest, and I was like, this is kind of Winchester coded, like the matching tattoos over your heart that have intricate meaning. I was just like, I see.
Yeah, but it's never even explained what kind of tattoo it is.
No, it is explained. It's like a sideways diamond, and
right, that represents the
four natural boundaries to the kingdom.
Right, yeah,
and also the powers inside. So it is unclear what exactly it looks like. It sounds stupid. However,
I remember I was confused by the description. I was like, okay, wait, a diamond on a sign, 4 corners. What?
No, it is stupid, but like when I read it, I was like, okay, will it come up at all? Like this, I thought maybe the tattoo was how Peyton would like be like, oh, only the princes are allowed to have these tattoos and recognize them, but no, no, nothing happened.
I thought you were about to say the tattoos, how she realizes that it was Kai and not the king killing her dad, and then it would be on brand to be shirtless because that's what he did back in the day.
Oh my god! That would be so fucking funny. Wait, this is canon to me now. And then every time she sees him shirtless, she's like, the tattoo of my father's murderer.
She has to hold a hand to his chest while they have intercourse, or they have to be in a position where she doesn't see him, just so she does.
She's just like, let me hold your tits while I say this. Oh, it's God. This is so stupid.
That's what he's thinking all the time. He's just, let me just hold your boobs while I tell you this.
God, no.
These are the kind of things. I really am not an unobservant reader, but this book constantly made me forget things, and a couple of things that stuck to my brain would never get resolved in the end.
Yeah, no.
So it was like using
so many things are just mentioned once and then never again because they don't matter, and you're like, was there something? Again, it's like only because I reread parts of the beginning to show a friend, I read the name of the king again. I was like, oh, I totally thought he was unnamed because he gets never named again afterward. Yeah. I also the king. I was just gonna say, after the contestants arrive at the castle, they all always have dinner together, and for some reason the king and queen are also always there, which weird, strange.
Well, Kit is also there.
But Kit's just hanging out because, like, all the people he talks to are there. Like, his brother's there, his cousin's there, his adopted brother. Like, he doesn't have friends otherwise. Okay. He's like, I'd get lonely. But the funniest bit is the first time they sit down, Peyton comes in last. She sits down and talks to someone. And she somehow doesn't notice Kai who is, depending on what part of the scene we're in, either described as sitting opposite her or next to her. Like, she just didn't notice him at all.
Yeah.
No awareness at all. She just sits down and is like, "Huh? No, I didn't see this guy."
I mean,
she describes
she doesn't see the
everyone
sights
else
either.
around the table, but then Kai's just ignored.
She doesn't see the sights either, so, maybe it's just...
I mean, that's true.
Her perception skill is so low.
But that was so funny, because I was also just thinking, how big is that table? Is it small? Like, it's never described. What's the situation?
That's why he booms down the table, because it's so big.
Like, the table is very big. All the contestants are crowded at one end, and the king's at the other end, and he's just shouting down this table. These people.
It's like this super long table in Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
Where they're like, it's like this 5 to 6 meter long table with "Pass me the salt, darling." Just that same situation. I was also listen. When I read this situation with the table, and I was also wondering about the table, I thought, is this going to be the fate of our podcast? That whenever there's a table in a book,
we're gonna have to talk about it.
Yeah, it's like, why is it so weird? That trips you up. I mean, this time it's not described as a lightning bolt, but it still poses questions that do never get revealed.
It really is just like bamboozling. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Why? Huh? It's also...
It's weird.
We didn't talk about this yet, but they eat a lot of beans. It is...
Beans and potatoes.
There's
and
this
what is it, chicken
weird
legs?
emphasis on, like, there are so many different dishes, and Kai starts piling beans onto her plate because she's so thin, and then he goads her into trying the beans, and, like, it mentions so much beans, and I'm just like, okay, sticky buns and beans, that's all these people eat every day. And then he comes up with the lemon tart.
Dinner, yeah. During the second dinner, he eats beans too, if I remember correctly. He walks in, he gets some beans.
Call him Mr. Bean. But yeah, it's just everything about this is so... I'm not even gonna start asking on, like, okay, where does this food come from? What's the agriculture situation? Because it doesn't matter.
Don't ask.
She, like, our beautiful Peyton is wearing tank tops from the beginning, and you're just like, what is the technological state? Do they have, like...
Yeah.
Do they have stretchy material? Is this wool? What kind of tank top is it? Why are they calling it a tank top? What? She's also wearing leggings to the first evening meal with the king and queen.
And, like, a green blouse.
Yeah, and it's like, you're not even wearing real pants? Okay, I guess that's just how the elite lives. Leggings time. It's everything about it is just so weird. Oh, no, it's... Just... there are so many details that are not worth talking about, but that every time I think about it, I think about something new again, and I'm like, huh? What was that, actually? But then it's like, why are we talking about it? It doesn't matter.
I was trying to find the scene where they eat dinner again, because I wanted to find the specific food that they eat, and while I was going through the book, I also found one of my other favorite things, which is her description of mute, like the material, which is the glass look-alike. Like, you could not find any other words to describe a transparent, see-through material, the glass look-alike.
It tells you everything.
Because at first, no, you know what this implies? At first I thought the dungeon looked like, because on the map, the castle looks like a fucking medieval standard castle, right? So, I assumed the dungeon would look like, medieval, the kind of
right? Especially with, like,
dungeon.
The bones everywhere and stuff.
Right. But then, now, at that moment, I was like, okay, wait, the cell and everything was completely made out of mute. Because, so that, like, the powers wouldn't get out, right? Does this look like the the prison that they have in the Thor movies, where it's like this very sleek white hotel room with the glass, like
my
everything.
association was with Hannibal, you know, in the show where like the
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with the glass cells, and it's just like, it's also weird, because like the arena, the bowl, they're like, oh yeah, long concrete hallways, and I'm like, wait, concrete again? What is the situation here? What? We have some electric street lamps, we have tank tops, we have leggings, we have concrete walls, we have like a football stadium, basically. But
yeah. But like it's so weird. By the way, it's turkey leg, and potatoes and beans. I said chicken. I was not getting my facts
But yeah,
straight.
no, the beans, like, it's just like,
do you like beans? But yeah, it's just the aesthetic disconnect of this. At first, I started reading the I have another bone to pick. Yes. I have another bone to pick. I think it's on the second page. Where she describes loot, which was one of the reasons why I at first thought we were in this sort of industrial age. And then she describes how loot smells. Immediately bombarded with a new concoction of smells far more unpleasant than the stench of soot clinging to my body. My clothes, my hair, sweat, fish, spices, and I'm quite certain some sort of bodily fluid. Listen here, we have a couple of bodily fluids and each of them has a distinct smell. What do you mean, some kind of bodily fluid? Like, shit has a distinct smell. Piss, sweat, sexual, like, associated fluids have smells. What do you mean, some kind of body fluid? I read that, I closed the book. I was like,
but I was also like, wait, did you just steal from a brothel? Where are those coming from? Wait,
coming. But you know what
honestly,
I mean? Like, that's the kind of...
Alone the opening of the book, a thick, hot liquid runs down my arm and you go,
Isn't it even a thick, hot, sticky liquid? No, it's a big, hot liquid. Already, when at the start of the book, I was so fed up with her as a main character, because she was like, despite him being a Flash, he apparently couldn't manage to move faster than my right hook to his jaw. Or like, funny, I don't remember the guard nicking me. Or, I immediately deduced that 3 more guards have joined the hunt. Like, Peyton? What?
I also love that she's so up her own ass, but she can't tell the difference between honey and blood. As if those don't feel insanely different.
We also get immediately assaulted by the guard being like, all I saw were his eyes, because they assume it's a man.
Blue.
Very blue. Show-stopping. Get the whatever the fuck the prices are for books. Get them out.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm blue, da ba dee da.
Those ocean eyes. It's truly. I don't know.
There's also this quote from the beginning where she's like, there are more guards now because crime has been increasing in Loot Alley. Totally nothing to do with me. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
Like, I thought this is a place of crime and
I thought this was serious. I thought like, you're fighting for your life while being homeless, but you're just like, doing the smug face every sentence, like turning to the camera and going, but I'm better than these people.
Like this emoji, I don't know what it is. It's this white little ghost thing emoji that has like that does like this bacano, like this face. That's how I felt like I was reading every single sentence of her going, "Cha, you didn't like TCH, like cha, you didn't think I'd be like."
It's just
it felt like it felt like when she was looking at Blair and the other elites, she was like, well, you were being busy training your powers. I was studying the blade.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Oh, it's just at least the smugness becomes less later in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Which also contributes where it's like different sections of the book have a different kind of writing style obsession. There are parts where certain stuff keeps being repeated, which is very noticeable, which then is not in the other parts at all. Like the part where he keeps calling her vicious little thing, and then in the last part of the book he never does it again. And it's just like, wait, I thought that was the like cute nickname. You said this like 50 times.
I marked vicious little thing the first time it happened on page 105, where he says, vicious little thing, isn't she? And like looking back at this, I was thinking like, oh god, this is so annoying. I didn't even know that I was going to have to read.
Going. Yeah.
This like 10 more times.
It's just that was also what several of the times where he kept doing this, I was making gagging sounds in real life. I was just like, nah, I need to close this for a bit. It's too much. I can't do it. I can't do it, Chief.
Yeah. I marathoned this book because I was noticing that whenever I was trying to do like shorter parts, I wouldn't get anything done. So I was like, okay, I need to have to like put my phone away, put everything away, and then just barrel through this book.
You can't do it otherwise. It's like, I'd rather be doing anything else.
Yeah.
Again, this
and
book,
like
it was so bad. I was legitimately going, I think I would rather be reading ACOWAR right now. I think I might even rather be reading Bridge Kingdom right now. Am I just having rose-colored glasses for the past? This is awful. I would rather be doing anything else.
I remember you being like, please give me the horny banter from Reese and Feyre back.
Right.
Anything but what I'm reading right now.
This is worse.
But yeah, no, I totally, like, when I went to Goodreads, and usually I'm able to see what people see in a book, which is why they like it or grade it highly. With this one, I genuinely didn't, and I felt like I was having a like fucking psychosis looking at the people praising this book and saying it's the best thing they ever read, because I genuinely cannot believe how you can think that. Like, do not. I'm interested to see, like, I'm not going to read the other books, but I'd be interested to see how Lauren Roberts' writing style changes and hopefully improves, because she did write this when she was like 17 or something, and I guess it received barely any editing before it got picked up by Simon Schuster.
Which is embarrassing for them. It's like, guys, you didn't even have a copy editor read over it and correct the misspellings?
Yeah, but for them, it's easy money, right? They pick up a book, a self-published book that is already doing well. So, like... But yeah, I do not get why people think this is a good book. Like, and the whole process of anything. I would be interested to see how she develops as an author. Because as you so eloquently said a lot of times, this is ass.
Yeah. This is truly bad at every level.
Yeah.
The descriptions are bad. The style is bad. The plot is horrible. The world building is bad. The characters are inconsistent. The humor doesn't land. The things that are supposed to be sexy make me gag. The banter makes me roll my eyes or do worse.
Yeah.
Everything about it is just, it's so bad. I legitimately do not understand it.
Yeah.
You know, all the people who make provocative YouTube titles that are like, ACOTAR is the worst book I've ever read. You people owe me so much money. You are so wrong about this. You cannot say this. Books like this exist. This is also why we have to say, you know what? Even ACOWAR is better than this. Even ACOTAR in its whole as a series in decline still manages to be better than a bunch of shit that got popular on its coattails. Which is an insane thing to say, but like the general public has the worst taste imaginable. I am losing my mind. I sent this to you. This book, this fucking book, has a better rating than The Spear Cuts Through Water. It makes me so angry. This is offensive to me, personally. I cannot live with this. It's not right. It's just not right.
I agree. I completely agree with you. I was genuinely disappointed because, I mean, Book Talk has led me astray a couple of times, but usually it was always still like, oh, it's kind of funny or whatever. Trash wave, I'm writing it. But with Powerless, I genuinely do not see the appeal, like, in no place. And it always almost hurts me to say this, because I'm like, how can this be? But truly, I don't know. I don't, like...
Even if this were a free fanfic in, like, my favorite fandom for my favorite ship that has barely any fics, I would read, like, 10 sentences and then click back. Yeah. Even if it was, like, some of the only content out there for my favorite things and it was free, I would not read this. Yeah. It's awful. Yeah. It's not worth it. It is that bad. Please do not read this. Like, I mean, unless you like hurting yourself or you genuinely find it entertaining to read things that are awful. But this is not fun awful.
It's just awful.
I laughed a bit at the end because it's so stupid and the scenes are so insane. But I was also laughing because I could see I was almost done. So I was not as annoyed anymore as for the rest of the book, where I was like, God, I have so many pages of this left. It was really funny. It got stupider and stupider, and, but the rest of it is so not worth it. You can read some excerpts and laugh about how bad the writing is, but you don't want this for an extended time. Nothing ever gets explained. The characters aren't even solid. I don't have a good grasp of what Kai is supposed to be like. Yeah. I love horrible men in fiction. However, this is so uninteresting to me. I read him and I'm like, there's nothing there. He can't decide what he is.
At some point, they say yet another mask that he wears, and I'm like, well, it feels like he's only has mask. Like, we have at no point seen the real Kai. Not a singular point.
She's like, oh, wow, I can see beyond his mask now. But I'm just like, is this a mask? I've seen his internal monologue, and I'm not even sure what's behind that. Like, yeah. Is there anything? Is he just 50 masks in a trench coat and, like, one of them is fronting and they, like, keep exchanging each other like a deck of cards?
My immediate situation was masks with a C.
He is a mask, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, is he just, like, 3 masks in a trench coat?
But it is made also worse by the fact that when you read it, the comparisons to other things you have read that it's cribbing from are so obvious, and you keep going, wow, this other book did it way better. A lot of the times, things can take even strong inspiration from something that already exists and do something different with it, or even just, like, see the thing and do it better because they've seen how the thing failed in something else. And that can be really interesting, and it doesn't really matter in that case if it's similar, because you get reminded, but often it's like, oh, but this is doing something different, or, oh, this is doing it the way I wish this other thing had done it. But here you're just like, yeah, it's like that other thing, which I would rather be reading right now. Yeah. Because this is ass.
yeah. It's truly, I don't have any other notes that we haven't already addressed. So for me, it's just pure disappointment. That is the feeling I am feeling. I truly was... You guys know me. you guys know me. I'm not the hater in this situation. I'm the, oh, but maybe you know person of the podcast. But I was disappointed. And my sister, who is always also just there for a good ride and she enjoys more books than me, in her perspective, I'm the hater. She also said she didn't like the book, which is honestly...
Which is crazy.
It's crazy because she can enjoy anything.
You know a number of people who I would describe as having bad tastes, and none of them who've read it said they liked it a lot.
Yeah,
they were all like, "Nah, it wasn't really good."
Yeah,
which, that's a sign that people who actively champion Fourth Wing going, "This shit was not it." Yeah, that's a sign, man. That is a sign.
That is all you need to know about.
And this is why we started this out emphatically telling you to not read this.
Yeah.
There is nothing there to say, because I'm like, well, if you want these ideas done better, they have been done better long before this book came out.
And the thing is, one thing I also want to get out, before we maybe like start wrapping this up, and we have also talked about this in chat, but it's like, there's a limited amount of ideas humanity can have, and not everything you put out has to be original and groundbreaking, and you can write a story that has existed before just for the sheer joy of having more of them. That being said, that is not the situation that we have at hand here with Powerless, because it does not feel like trying to just tell a story of vibes and love that you simply enjoy. It does not feel like that. So
yeah, because at its core, it doesn't really feel like a story.
Yeah,
because it's like, it's not going really anywhere. You're mostly stuck with, okay, we just need some padding and some background to get these banter scenes to work, like these OTP scenes that Lauren Roberts imagined. Yeah. And the rest is just there to facilitate it. And that's not a fun experience. Yeah. And I like stories that are in conversation with other stories, even if they're like similar. I like retellings. I like fairy tale retellings. Actually, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm so tired of those." But like, if it's a good story, it's a good story. Yeah. I like seeing what people do with some ideas that are already out there, how they put their own spin on it. But I think the problem here is that the thing has no spin. It's just the same stuff. Yeah. But written by someone who kind of didn't understand what made the original good and how they worked, and is just taking parts of them and putting them together in a puzzle. Like, that doesn't work. It's like pieces from separate puzzles that are put together, and of course the image makes no sense. Yeah. Because it doesn't go together. It just doesn't. And honestly, the saving grace, there were no sex scenes. I would not want to read a sex scene in this writing style. I would expire. That would be bad.
It's just, I would have, from this kind of writing style, I would expect the sex scenes to be the sort of very weird, like where it feels like, even though it was written by a woman, the sex scene feels like male gaze, like that sort of weird writing style.
Yeah, because it's just the use of cliches the author has seen before, and just putting them in there without a lot of thought. And like, that sounds mean, but like, it is that bad. Yeah, I think that's how I read the situation, honestly. It's so bad. At least Serpent and Dove was like original. It was like, hey, what if there was a Frenchman named Reed Diggory, and what if
a ginger Frenchman named Reed Diggory?
And what if there was a hot witch that who had to get married to each other? And that's at least that's a story. This I don't know what it is, but I don't like it.
What if we made domestic abuse fun? That's what Serpent and Dove was all about.
Yeah, what if the person doing the domestic abuse was hot and you were into it with them?
But yeah, it's I think we can wrap this up just by saying the disappointment is
Yeah.
immense. Even I could not enjoy like a singular
Yeah.
part of this.
It
Only
truly-
fun for me was Kit whenever he appeared. So
Yeah, it's a truly... And he would be less fun if he were there more, because the
Yeah.
more characters were on screen, the worse it was. So we can be thankful he didn't have a POV for most of the book.
that's the thing. I think the only reason why the NPCs are not as unbearable is because we don't have their POVs.
Yeah, we don't. Can you imagine a king POV? That would be the worst.
This meddling kid.
She's trying to fuck both of my sons. That's not allowed.
Jesus Christ.
This slummer.
Hopefully not at the same time. That would pose some weird incest questions I don't want to answer. Well, anyways.
No, it's bad. Don't read it. 0 stars.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
If you guys have read it, please give us your thoughts. I genuinely am losing my mind. Knowing our audience, I have trust in you guys that you also didn't like it. But, maybe, I don't know.
If you read it, put your favorite awful quote from the book in the comments if you have one. Because I keep forgetting some, and then I see them again in my screenshots, and I'm like, God, this was so bad.
When I was rolling through the book to like look at the quotes, every single time I open a page, I'm like,
Yeah, every page has something awful. So it never stops.
It's not every frame's a picture, it's like every page a screenshot you sent to a friend. So or in my case, take a wonky photo of it.
All right. Yeah, no, it's just not good.
So thank you guys so much for listening, for suffering with us through this. This was worse than light. Anyways, I'm just gonna shut up.
Yeah, I remember your text that was like, "Wow, I miss Grimm."
It's the God honest truth. It's the God honest truth. I'm gonna stand on that.
I also think it's funny that Kit has the same green eyes, blonde hair combo that every Tamlin clone has had, and it's like.
And he was hot and tan. Anyways, this is we could talk ages about how bad this book is because you can again.
Yes.
You can.
It's cathartic to do because we had to read it.
So if you also need catharsis, let it out in our comment section.
Yeah, just share it.
Sharing is caring. Thank you so much for listening. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Goodbye.